Well, guys, we are back for another episode of the Liberal Asshole Show, episode 93, and the first episode of 2024. And what are today's topics?
Hunter Avallone almost killed, 2024 being rough on Japan, America attacks Houthi rebels in Yemen, and Kyle Kulinski being an American diabolist, Karen Mock's kid beating Tetris, watching PragerU's video, Why Do You Hate Conservatives, Trump prosecutor and judge swatted, and Dave Rubin says it's good to be racist about immigrants.
Oh boy, a lot of stuff we gotta talk about. So, what do we start off the year with first?
Hunter Avallone.
Oh boy! So yeah, guys, I think it was in the last episode we mentioned about like who's grifters on the left, and we brought up Hunter Avallone and all that, and you brought up that like he was almost killed or something like that. Yeah. I kind of like brushed it off to the side, like it probably wasn't like that big a deal. Like it was probably like some death threat or something like that. So I decided, you know what, I'll go check out Hunter's channel on, and he actually did have a video on, and oh boy. Oh no. This is way worse.
I was 100% serious when I said that.
You might have been underestimating how bad it is. Oh my god. Hunter Avallone was almost killed by a stalker, for crying out loud, over his ex. Oh boy. And it's pretty bad too. So yeah, let's start with this, because this is really pretty bad what happened to him. And this is something that needs to be talked about a lot. So yeah, here we go.
It's now been over 1 week since somebody
and also this is a month ago too, guys.
tried to kill me. And no, this is not clickbait. This is actually something that legitimately happened. I've never been so close to death before in my entire life, and I'm absolutely incredibly thankful to still be alive and to even be able to be making this video for you guys today. Today I'll be sharing more details about this ordeal, as well as dispelling some of the ridiculous rumors that are being spread online by desperate clowns.
Yeah, guys, as we talked about too, when we talk about Hunter Avallone, last episode, he has a lot of people on the right that are still very angry with him that he became a progressive since he used to be a Trumpster, and he still gets shit for it to this day. So much shit for it.
The backstory. This is Holly Knoll. Holly is a Twitch streamer who focuses on mental health, gaming, and fostering a positive community. Holly and I have been friends now for several months, and we really began bonding over video games and our shared interest for live streaming, of course. Our friendship was only platonic at the time, and it stayed that way until after her prior relationship ended, a relationship that she said was abusive. Holly and her ex-boyfriend Conrad were together for 12 years. Despite the abusive and the difficult relationship, Holly continued to care deeply for him. Although Holly cared for Conrad, she began to grow mentally, and she came to the realization that she didn't want to continue this cycle anymore. This led to Holly's decision to end the tumultuous relationship. Conrad had a history of making seemingly baseless threats of violence against virtually anyone who stood between him and Holly, including me. I had also been clear to Holly that she shouldn't tolerate abusive behavior.
As we've said on the show numerous times, don't let this happen. When this happens, you need to get out immediately. Don't let these people control you, because it's going to lead to stuff like what happened to Hunter.
He was familiar with my content, and he enjoyed watching my debates as well. It didn't take long for him to realize that Holly and I were talking once our relationship ended. This led to several threats of violence against me, threats that I wrongly believed at the time to be baseless.
Yeah, Hunter, when someone does threats like that, you have to always take it seriously. Every single time.
The attempt. On December 3rd, 2023, over a month since her relationship had ended, Holly arrived on the East Coast to visit me. We were not dating at this point, and we only planned on spending a week together. Before Holly drove to the airport that day, Conrad also told her, quote, "You made the wrong choice." Again, because of this guy's long history of making baseless threats, we really didn't take much of this very seriously. Things quickly escalated, however, when Holly arrived at my apartment and my iPhone alerted me that AirTags had been using my device to track my location. We searched Holly's luggage and we found 2 different AirTags stuck to the inner lining of her suitcase and her backpack. When Holly confronted Conrad, he admitted his intent was to find my location. She says that she's going to be filing a police report, and Conrad responds, "For what? An AirTag to see where you would be so I can see where this dumb fuck lives?" However, since we were across the entire country and this guy had done so many crazy things in the past, we just wrongly waited to file a police report, chalking this up to just another abusive or crazy tactic. Fast forward to December 8th. It's a bit past noon, and suddenly I get a call from my landlord informing me that there's somebody at my building to see me. My landlord told me that this person claimed that I had been expecting them and I must have fallen asleep because I wasn't responding to any of their phone calls. I told my landlord not to let anybody inside the building. Holly and I were definitely suspicious, but we just could not believe that Conrad would actually fly across the entire country. I decided to go down to the front of the building to see what was going on. Holly wanted to go herself. I told her no, so we ended up just going together. We walked to the bottom of the steps, and I didn't see anybody standing at the door. So I walked all the way to the bottom of the steps, opened the door, and I stuck my head out of the door, and I looked right for a second, didn't see anything. Then I looked left. And almost instantly, a man with a mask and a large jacket came out from behind the corner, staring at me dead in the eyes. I did not recognize this person, but I knew something was wrong, so I quickly backed up and slammed the door shut. The door is made of all glass and it locks automatically. Although I didn't recognize this person, Holly instantly recognized this person as Conrad. Within seconds of me seeing this strange person that I didn't recognize, we realized that it was, in fact, Holly's ex-boyfriend here at my house to enact revenge. I was still in disbelief and trying to process what was even going on when Holly began shouting that he had a gun. This all happened so quickly, but remembering his threats to kill me, Holly stood in between me and Conrad, only inches apart, and told me to run. Holly took a risky bet that day that Conrad wouldn't kill her. Holly was remarkably brave, and the fact that she acted so quickly and so bravely really deserves all the praise. Holly also bet right. Conrad didn't try to kill her. Instead, upon seeing me run back up the steps, Conrad shut the lower corner of the glass door to breach entry, injuring Holly in the process. The police later informed us that the bullet he had used to fire through that glass door was a slug. A slug intended for me. And just seeing a picture of a shotgun slug and knowing someone had that intended for me, it's unsettling to say the least. Now, there have been some imbeciles who want to take away from Holly's bravery here and instead want to just criticize me for, quote, allowing Holly to stand between me and my attacker. I think
of course, the misandrous mindset that men are supposed to protect women at all times, don't you know? Because we're a piece of shit if we don't. Because it's just misandry. And it's also misogynistic to assume that women are defenseless and weak.
Yep, as I was going to say, both misogynistic and misandrous. Jeez, I thought you people were such men's rights activists.
But of course, when it's Hunter...
Turns out you're worse.
Except when it's Hunter, remember?
Yep.
And of course, just like remember, they were still butthurt about him living the TradCon life for a while, too. That got him so mad that a progressive would do that. Why do you guys get so mad when progressives live the life that you all claim to value so much?
It's because you're not actually supposed to live that life.
Human shield rumor
Also, you know, hypocrites or something, I don't know.
Attacker? I think this might be where the whole human shield rumor comes into play, but nobody put another person before themselves. Holly has autonomy. She made that snap decision, and it's a decision that ultimately saved both of our lives. She not only noticed the gun hidden in his jacket before I did, she believed she would be more likely to reason with him since he only wanted to murder me. Even more so, according to the active shooter protocol, if there are 2 or more persons in the same place when a violent incident begins, you should spread out in the room to avoid offering the aggressor an easy target. Not only did Holly think quickly and rationally, but we ended up following the actual protocol as well. Again, all the haters online LARPing as John Wick would literally be dead right now if they were in the exact same situation. The protocol also says, take others with you, but do not stay behind because others will not go. Had I not trusted Holly's judgment, I would have provided a larger target and a potentially more deadly outcome. Even more so, again, Holly has autonomy. This ordeal played out within 5 to 10 seconds. I couldn't have just grabbed Holly and carried her up the steps. Not only would that be unrealistic, it would literally not have been possible considering how quickly this whole thing played out. I went up the steps slightly out of view from the door and waited for Holly. Before she could try and talk Conrad down, he shot the lower corner of the door. Suddenly, a loud shot rang out and Holly ran up to meet me. Both her legs were bleeding and she was screaming that she got shot. At this point, I also was obviously beginning to panic a bit. The look in his eyes when I saw him at the door, he just looked so evil, Null told the New York Post only days after the terrifying ordeal. Holly and I quickly dashed back inside my apartment unit. At this point, my mind was off. I genuinely don't remember what I was thinking. I just know my heart was pounding, and I had never felt so much adrenaline at once before. I remember rushing back inside the apartment. I locked the door. I called 911. I grabbed a towel to try and wrap Holly's wound, and then we quickly rushed to the back balcony. A balcony 4 stories up with no emergency exit. There's only one way out of my apartment, and that's through the front door. The front door that Conrad was now outside of, firing his gun and desperately trying to get inside. Once we were on the back balcony and I had the police on the phone, I also then began recording this incident. Again, nasty online trolls are spreading some rumors that I was hiding behind Holly in this clip. I think the
Miss Andrea
really
again?
stems from a
Yeah,
lack of
and
knowledge on my
misogyny and
apartment
misandry
unit.
is
I
fucking
think a lot of people
usual.
think Conrad was already
These shitheads,
inside the
these people
apartment.
shot
I was
these
just standing
shitheads.
by while Holly watched him with nothing but a thin glass shield protecting her. This is not the case. Conrad was still outside the apartment unit, and from Holly's view, she could see the front door. She was watching to ensure Conrad didn't bust down the front door. I wasn't hiding behind Holly, I was watching the side door. Had Conrad simply opened the unlocked door and walked down this indoor-outdoor hallway, he would have had a perfect angle on me and Holly. It honestly felt like being stuck inside of a nightmare. I knew that if this guy got inside that he would quickly be able to kill me, and I was only on the phone with the police for like 9 minutes, but both me and Holly genuinely felt like it was at least 30 minutes. The officer told me later that day that he's never been so scared that he was going to die. This is most likely due to the fact that Conrad also shot 2 police officers, non-fatally wounding both of them. Officers were also apparently firing from below the floor, and Conrad would not give up. He was apparently so enraged, he didn't stop firing at police until they showed up with a riot shield. Somehow Conrad managed to text Holly throughout this ordeal also. Holly sent him a picture of her wound while Conrad was trying to break down the door. She begged him to surrender. Conrad again reiterated that Holly, quote, made the wrong choice, as well as his intention to kill me. Conrad went on to claim that he didn't mean to shoot Holly. His last text says, "I should have killed the coward." Realizing he had mistakenly hurt Holly, his plan to breach the apartment had failed, and the cops were now rushing him, Conrad tragically took his own life outside my apartment door, leaving behind a very gruesome scene. A scene that was so gruesome, it took a hazmat team over 10 hours to clean the mess. An entire flooring needed to be redone, costing $10,000 in damages and repairs. As I already discussed, the active shooter protocol explains the steps to take when an active shooting occurs. After this ordeal, I looked more into this protocol, and I'm pleased to say Holly and I did everything correctly, despite what some idiots online might be saying. Even Navy SEALs have explained
You're a cook,
the best
Hunter,
course of
don't you
action
know?
when an active shooter makes himself known.
These
As soon as you
people
hear
are the
shots,
cocks
the
who would
first thing
now
you
be
must do
dead,
is
who would be
remove
dead if
yourself
they
from the
didn't
immediate vicinity
follow
of
it.
the source of the gunfire. Simply put, you must do whatever it takes to get clear if you expect to have any chance of survival or retaliation. If you survive the first 10 seconds of this type of ambush, you have a much better chance of making it out alive. So anyone shitting on me for my first reaction being to run from the active shooter who had already made his bloodlust for me known is simultaneously shitting on fucking Navy SEALs who advocate for this exact same protocol. And that's really unfortunate, isn't it? When these dumb fuck conservatives are so desperate to hate on me that they accidentally are unironically shitting on our troops as well. Someone who served in the Marine Corps and was a former police officer of 4 years also reviewed our video. He wrote a statement further explaining how and why what Holly and I did was in fact the correct move. Presuming there was no firearm to retrieve in the home, moving to the back balcony is again a perfectly sound move. Apartment exterior and interior doors are not known for being sturdy, and a few swift kicks likely could have broken down the exterior door. It is again very likely that adrenaline was a factor. Conrad, either due to lack of attention or panic, failed to kick down the exterior door. Holly watched the exterior door from the inside via a glass pane, while Hunter watched the exterior door from the outside. Hunter further stated that if Conrad gained entry to the apartment, they were prepared to jump from the patio. This was teamwork pure and simple, as Hunter could almost see the exterior door from the patio, and this would be a longer shot to take. While if Conrad broke the door down and turned to the patio door, he would see Holly first, reducing the likelihood of another shotgun blast. This could be intentional, subconscious, or adrenaline panic, but no matter what, for two panicked kids on the verge of getting murdered, this is a series of good moves. Finally, there are some detractors who have tried to paint me as anti-police or a defund the police liberal. The Quartering in particular has been lying his
Hello,
ass
Quiverin.
off. The reason these degens are spreading this rumor is really quite simple. They believe that if I am anti-police, that this entire situation is somehow ironic because I called the police when someone showed up at my door with a...
This is the exact same argument gun fuckers use for people who don't like guns like me. Every time.
Homosexuals.
Shotgun. The truth is, though, I'm not
the same argument the
anti-police. I've
homosexuals
been
make.
vocal in the past about my
Yes,
opinions on
that's what they should be called.
Hey, I remember that video, Hunter, where you were against abolishing, defund the police.
Are not only bad slogans, but bad ideas also. I'm in favor.
I don't know if I would say it's a bad idea, because the police in a lot of ways do need to be defunded and prioritize the money to like social services and all that.
Yeah.
But the
also, guys, you've already got a SWAT team. You've already got a SWAT. You don't need police to be like they're not in a war zone.
But I was also I was gonna say though that the slogan though is defund the police is not good. This is something I kept trying to explain to Harry over and over again, that police reform works better in polls. There's like an 80% difference. And what would you want to run on? Something that has like an 80% chance of success or approval to someone that's like 2%? I think it's obvious. You go with the one's 80% if it's going to lead to the exact same outcome.
Police reform, and reform costs money. Defunding the police really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and demonizing all cops as bastards only adds fuel to the flame.
Yeah, a lot of people. Unfortunately, a lot of people on the left are like that.
Mike Figueredo,
Harry, and I'm sure
Harry,
and a whole bunch of
Harry's
other.
Harry's actually done black nationalist apologia for black nationalist cop killers. So we know that he would. I was almost want to ask him, like, how many cops have you attacked in the last thing?
But
because if you hate them that much, I'm surprised you haven't tried to kill any.
But yeah, guys, not all cops are bastards. However, there are shitty cops still, and they need to be removed. We need to replace them with good cops and all that, because the cops are going to exist no matter what. So, gotta try and make them as good as possible.
Receipts revealed that he was actually in my area for several days before the attempted murder. Police later revealed to us that Conrad had also gone to shooting ranges several times prior to his attempted murder. He had several different types of ammunition with him as well. It's really eerie just how premeditated this entire thing was. My thoughts now. I'm really glad that I waited over a week to make this video. When this incident first happened, I was obviously shaken up a bit, and I was also really angry. The police told me not to look at the scene when we left, but I didn't listen. I looked anyway. But obviously, I believed the police when they told me that he was dead, but I looked in a vengeful way, out of spite almost. Because truthfully, I was angry. I was angry at what I felt was a monster who attacked me, hurt Holly, and definitely scarred us both. I kept going back and forth between being really angry and then just being kind of numb. Like, I feel very angry and a vengeful satisfaction that he was dead, but then other times I feel fine and kind of surprised. Like, why don't I feel more shaken up by this whole thing? I was mostly
sounds like normal
anger or vengeance, but this also seemed changed. During this past week,
I mean, that's how I feel when I see like all the UK YouTube news sites posting like on battle footage of the Russo-Ukraine war and all that. It just doesn't numb me at all.
Some time off, I went back to Holly's home in Washington to help her move. Given the circumstances, she no longer wanted to remain in the same apartment she shared with her now deceased ex-boyfriend. Being inside Holly's apartment and seeing some of Conrad's things that he left behind really helped me to start humanizing this person a lot more. I started to see him as less and less of a monster and more like a really broken person. And that experience was really weird, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, this is a guy who He watched my debates. He liked my videos. He liked video games. He liked streaming. I started to feel a lot less angry at him and more just really sad for him. I feel like me and this guy could have been friends had the circumstances been different. Conrad also struggled with his fair share of mental health issues, as you can imagine. I've also had my fair share of mental health struggles, but I've never been in a place so dark that I'd even consider doing what he did. Honestly, I have a lot of empathy for this person now, because this just makes me realize how broken inside he must have been and how bad he must have been feeling to actually plot something like this and then carry it out. It's apparent now that Conrad's suicide was also planned. The day of the attack, when Holly and I still believed Conrad was at a friend's house in his home state, he told Holly he was excited to, quote, go home today. What sounded like a normal text message explaining his excitement to return home from a friend's house suddenly became an eerie premonition after his attempted murder and his suicide. This whole ordeal has taught me a lot. This story has a lot of layers. It taught me more about domestic violence. It taught me that being in an abusive relationship, and more specifically, leaving one, is so much more dangerous than simply walking out the door. It also
but you still gotta
issues
do
with
it.
men and their mental health and men's
Well,
mindset.
I know her family friend, one of my familiar friends. She's actually a survivor of domestic violence. Actually got away, and yeah, like I knew that.
Yeah, you talked about before.
Yeah.
Regardless of the situation, if you're in a situation like this, you have to get out no matter what. Like, it's going to just be worse and worse and worse as long as you stay there. You have to get out no matter what.
Conrad couldn't bring himself to let Holly go. She loved him and cared for him for so long, and all she wanted in return was for him to love her as a best friend. But unfortunately, he just could not let that happen. He told Holly that he couldn't live without her in some of his final messages. Building your entire identity on another person can only end badly. And in this case, it ended worse than I think any of us could have ever imagined. It also seriously breaks my heart to know that Conrad had reached out to multiple different therapies prior to this ordeal, and none of them got back to him in time. Men oftentimes do not have healthy outlets for their emotions, and they don't always open up to their friends.
And this is the problem with idiots on the right and idiots on the left, too, that don't talk about men's issues because they're always made fun of. And if they are talked about, they're talked about by the right to demonize feminism and stuff like that. And they don't care at all about, and don't care about men's rights at all. It's just a crutch to go after feminism.
How do you think we have so many incels? Partly it's because of that. The fact that feminists have just been... Yeah, by the way, a lot of the old school misandrist feminists, they're now turfs and swerfs teaming up with Christian conservatives and Nazis to do horrible things.
Yeah,
I mean, the term turf neo-Nazi is a real thing. Kelly J's one, for instance. J.K. Rowling's girlfriend.
That name.
Yeah.
And that's why, thank you, Vosh Risley, for doing your hour-long video on Tomb Raider making fun of these clowns, because they need to be made fun of.
So many times men feel alone in
but also remember that Vosh was the one. Remember, we actually covered this with Vosh about all that regarding men's issues.
Yep, that's the one thing he's undeniably good at.
With their own thoughts and emotions, and it's tragic that sometimes that results in atrocities. This experience has also solidified my stance on guns. I am not anti-gun. I've never been anti-gun. I'm pro-gun ownership, and I absolutely do wish that I had a gun when this situation happened. I didn't own a gun mostly because I have kids, and I genuinely never really felt the need to go and get one.
Even if I was in this situation, I still would not get a gun, because I hate guns. Period. There's nothing you could do to get me to want that.
I wouldn't have one, but then again, I'm in Australia. Gun ownership is heavily regulated.
Because you guys are smart.
No, but I would at least be like, I know there's a gun store there. I'm not going to go and get one, but I'm going to learn how to at least know how to use one.
I mean, in that situation, having a gun would be useful or not, but I'm still not going to use gun. Period. Like, no.
Like some principled stance or some like fear of gun thing. I genuinely just never thought about going and getting a gun. Regardless, that has definitely changed now, and I will be looking into owning a firearm moving forward. I want people to have the ability
I recommend also getting training alongside that.
That's one, which we're actually going to talk about, like, guns come up, because that's one of the PragerU videos, one of the things they brought up was guns and all that. Because, yeah, that's one thing that needs to be, not just about, like, that's one thing that needs to be done about, like, guns in America. It's not just you should be able to pass a background check. You gotta go through gun training and all that. You should not be able to get a gun and not know how to use it properly. Guns are dangerous things like cars. You need to show that you can properly use them. And by the way, other countries that also have a shit ton of guns like America have standards like that, where you have to pass gun training before you can use it. And that is the smart thing to do.
And this stance of mine has never changed. What I don't want is for people like Conrad to have the ability to...
Thankfully, in Maryland, which Hunter is in too, that's kind of is the case. So, yeah, based Maryland as always.
I reckon,
It's nice being in the best state in the country. We're the richest and we're the smartest.
Despite only having a temporary ID with no photo, he was still given a gun. This is absolutely unacceptable. Law-abiding citizens can own guns, and if they're law-abiding citizens, then they'll be able to pass a background check and a waiting period. So in closing, despite the nasty...
And of course it shows loopholes, even in my state, do exist. As conservatives deny there's a gun show loophole and stuff like that. No, you can easily get guns even in my state, for crying out loud. It's that simple.
Rumors online.
And that needs to be cracked down on.
Holly showed remarkable bravery. We both acted quickly and strategically despite being terrified, and it's because of our actions that we're both alive. I am so grateful that Holly thought as quickly as she did, and I'm thankful that we both operated as a team when it came to watching the entry points and getting to the best possible location. I'm also really thankful that Holly didn't suffer more severe injuries. The shrapnel and ricochet could have been deadly. Although the injuries weren't life-threatening, Holly still has medical bills and other expenses due to this situation, uprooting so much of her life. She currently has a GoFundMe and it's linked below, so if you'd like to support and donate to her GoFundMe, all donations would be greatly appreciated. I also have to move due to this event being in the media, my address has leaked, and I've also received additional threats. I have also
as always from right-wing thugs every time.
I bet you from the ordering sent him at least 50.
You mean the quivering?
Yes.
I'm not sure who to donate to. Definitely donate to Holly, as she needs it more, and she deserves so much more for the amazing bravery that she showed. So many are trying to make this a political thing to use against me, or a gender thing to use against me, but honestly...
Of course, because that's what the right always does, every time, especially towards you.
So much for men's rights.
So I'm very sorry, haters, but this soy boy lives to die another day.
Oh, yeah, so yeah, what do you guys say about that? I think I said it before. Hunter, probably the only other person probably be careful is like the biggest progressive on YouTube that faces like the most threats of violence. Like I think of no one else I can think of other than Keffels had to gone through this. No one else. Like, do you know anyone else that's gone through this besides Keffels and Hunter? Because I can't think of anyone.
No, I know I can't either.
Yeah, guys.
Literally, it's Hunter Avallone and Keffels.
Hunter's gotten all this shit all because he left the right. And the right are still butthurt about it. So, fuck them. And hopefully, Hunter, keep being a base progressive. And, and of course, these vile pricks too, if they know where he lives, you know they're going to try and find out like where his kids at and probably try and kill them too because they're evil sacks of shit. Man. I swear.
Yes,
So, hope the best for Hunter. You know what would be kind of nice? Maybe I should see if I could try and get him on here one time we could talk about stuff. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
And hey, fellow Marylanders, so time would be very simple. Maybe I'll try and do that afterwards. That would be really cool. Yeah. All right, so now, on to the next topic.
And that is 2024 being rough on Japan.
Oh boy, what a start to the year for them. That is unfortunate. So yeah, guys, Japan had 2 disasters to start off like the first 2 days of 2024. So this is a lot to say. First off, they had a pretty strong earthquake that hit in western Japan, in the Sea of Japan, which doesn't get a lot of earthquakes. Now, Japan, of course, remember, as we talked about before, they're on 4 tectonic plates. I found 2. I always said it was like 3 tectonic plates. No, I found they're on 4 of them, and that's why they get so many earthquakes. I remember reading, I think, somewhere, like, they actually get, like, an earthquake every single day, but most of the times it's not really
on
felt.
Average, yeah.
But yeah, they had I think it was a 7.8 earthquake, which is pretty damn powerful, but it's not like it's not as powerful as like the one in 2011. That was one of the most powerful earthquakes ever at 9.0 or something like that. But it was pretty powerful. But not that many people died, as I'm actually looking up right now. Let's see. Recently,
yeah. Well, Japan has the infrastructure to withstand it.
I was about to bring up. As of right now, only 215 people died, and where's the
Remember that when they're in Turkey
I was about to get to that.
And Armenia, it was in like areas there it was 100,000.
Yeah, guys, like Japan had a 7.6 earthquake, and what happened? Remember the earthquake that happened in Turkey last year? They had a 7.8, and tens of thousands of people died. Hell, Japan, when they had the 9.1 earthquake in 2011, they only had 20,000 people dead, and most of that was not from the earthquake; it was the tsunami. So, yeah, guys, as we said before, Japan's infrastructure when it comes to earthquakes needs to be done everywhere, especially on the West Coast, which actually gets earthquakes a lot. Like, they know how to they know how to build their buildings right to handle this stuff. We need to spread this everywhere. Everyone that has major earthquake concerns must get it immediately, and all that. So, yeah, that's bad enough. A pretty powerful earthquake hit Western Japan, all that. That sucks. That's bad and all that, despite not the many deaths. But that's not it, guys. That's not it. Literally, like, a day or so later, at night, and I think it was one of the airports in Tokyo, there was a plane crash that happened at the airport. There was a Coast Guard plane that got flattened by a passenger airliner that crashed down the runway. Now, thankfully, in that regard, no one on the airliner died. And I'm thinking it might have been up to like 200 people on that flight. And thankfully, none of them dead. Unfortunately, that Coast Guard plane, everyone but one was killed. And it was like 5 people. So, that's very unfortunate. And of course, this has been like over a week ago, and I haven't heard anything about it since. So I have no idea if they ever figured out what the reason was. But
it'll be months before that happens.
Yeah, but it's most likely that someone was there that wasn't supposed to be there. Either air traffic control gave them bad information, or the planes were not there when they should not have been, or something like that. I'm actually looking up the Wikipedia page about the earthquake. I wonder if it's gonna say something about it, because that's the only reason why that crash happened, because that Coast Guard plane was there to help aid and all that, and then they got killed and all that. Very unfortunate. Of course, I haven't found anything yet. So, what do you guys say about it? Well, I might try and look this up some more.
I saw this on the news because, of course, Japan's in in the Asia Pacific, like Australia is, and yeah, pretty scary.
Where is
the evacuation was actually very much orderly, which is not usually what happens when it comes to things like that, but good on them for getting everyone off on time.
You know what it is? It's because as much we criticize Japan for this and other like Eastern countries, a whole bunch of countries, but this is like the only positive thing about being like an order-based society. Orderly like evacuation and all that. Orderly, like doing like mask mandates and stuff like that. Remember, like how they're I think they're even still doing that stuff in Japan, all that, or COVID.
It would not surprise me if they still were.
Like they actually, like when their government tells them to do something, the Japanese just fall in line and do it. Pretty much, that's the exact opposite. Like in America, where oh my god, do I need to remember all the Karens that had a meltdown about wearing masks and all that? Like if an earthquake like this happened, I'm sure people would have a shit fit over trying to do as best they can to do it.
Really would.
Absolutely pathetic. And here we go. Finally CNN. Let's see, does it have any updates? And of course, it hasn't been updated in like 10 days, so they're probably not gonna say anything about it or any updates on it. So yeah, guys, it's just very unfortunate that
corporate media.
So yeah, as much as we shit on Japan because it's in fucking ethno state, And I still say it's more racist and misogynistic than even America, and that's saying something. There are major problems over there. Even though I'm a weeb, I love anime and manga, especially since I've been reading manga a lot the last few weeks, and video games and all that, the music, the architecture and all that, but you guys are severely backwards. You need to westernize socially too, not just everything else. But despite all that, it's still unfortunate that they had 2 disasters in the first 2 days of the year. But hey, it just shows.
As for Australia, we're just getting Western Australia's staying hot, South Australia's getting globules of heat, and then the coast from about Darwin to, it varies between Newcastle and Melbourne, just getting storms, endless storms.
Hey, just like we had a nor'easter come by recently, and of course it didn't give me any snow, unfortunately, but I remember a few days ago, it was pouring down rain, it was raining like crazy. Parts of the Midwest have had a huge snowstorm recently, too. Makes me very jealous. So yeah, guys, it's unfortunate what happened in Japan. Hopefully all recovered and all that. And like I said before, we must get their infrastructure to handle earthquakes all over the place, especially on the West Coast. Because the West Coast is also on a tectonic plate too. The West Coast of America gets earthquakes all over the place. We need that shit over there too. Also, now I got to think about it. Does Australia get a lot of earthquakes?
No, not Australia. New Zealand gets them quite regularly, but Australia doesn't.
Oh, that's right. I think they're on a volcano chain in New Zealand, so that's probably why.
Yeah, New Zealand's part of the is on the Ring of Fire.
That's unfortunate.
So we'll get them fairly regularly, but they don't go above about magnitude 3 or 4. They're not very strong.
Yeah, you don't usually feel them when they're that low. But you know what? Even though us on the East Coast we don't get earthquakes, I actually experienced one back in 2011. If you want to look that up.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, in 2011, there was a 5.8 that happened in Virginia, and it was felt all the way down from Florida all the way up to Canada.
Wow.
Look it up too.
I remember I was sitting in my room sitting in the living room doing something, and I just heard things starting to rattle a bit. I'm like, what the?
That is exactly what happened to me that day.
We have an earthquake.
I'll
go look it up, and then later that day on the news, and sure enough, there was an earthquake at the epicenter pretty damn close to where I was.
Yep, that's how it was for me too that day, and there's the article too if you want to look at it later on.
Alright.
Oh my god, that was just an insane day. So, yeah, I think it's enough talking about earthquakes and all that, so what's to the next topic?
That'll be America attacks Houthi rebels in Yemen, and Kyle being an American diabolist.
Okay, guys, so this just happened last night and all that. So, this is part of the Hamas-Israeli war, so I'm going to try and explain it as good as I can because people like Kyle are not good on explaining this whatsoever. So, of course, as we mentioned, the Hamas-Israeli war has been going on for the last 3 months and such. Now, because we haven't really talked about the Yemen civil war at all. It's been going on since 2015, where Yemen has had a civil war where part of Yemen is controlled by Houthis, which are jihadists and stuff like that. And Saudi Arabia, of course, has been bombing and destroying the Houthis ever since. Unfortunately, just like Israel with the Palestinians, Saudi Arabia is causing genocide of Yemen by indiscriminately bombing, not allowing aid and all that. They're doing the exact same things to Israel. I mean, not to say Israel, to Yemen that Israel's doing to the Palestinians.
And at one point, do you want to know who? Okay, granted, it was not in any of the major administrative areas, but do you want to know who at one point held the most territory in the country of Yemen?
Who?
Al-Qaeda.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's pretty bad. And of course, it's also very annoying as an American that we've been arming and funded Saudi Arabia doing their genocide of Yemen, just like Israel with the Palestinians. It's absolutely unacceptable and all that. So of course, once the Hamas-Israel war started, the Houthis, which control southern part of Yemen, they don't control all of Yemen, just the south, west part pretty much, the coastline over there into the Red Sea. They, because no one covered a bit some months ago, they declared war on Israel. Did you know about that?
Yes, I did.
Now, of course, I was thinking, they're freaking jihadists. They're busy dealing with Saudi Arabia. What are they really going to do to Israel? And of course, they really can't. The one thing, however, they have been doing, which a lot of leftists have not covered, is they're trying to prevent aid from going from the Red Sea to Israel. Now, of course, how are they doing that? They're attacking ships.
They're being pirates,
Yeah.
basically.
They're actively shooting missiles at, like, cargo ships and all that. They're actively doing piracy, pretty much. And, of course, the left acting like, oh, my God. Kyle was acting like, I'm not going to say what Kyle said because he's going to say it, but it's so stupid. Like, Brianna Joy Gray was saying, like, the Houthis are doing non-violent protests to stop aid in Israel. Like, shut the fuck up!
What the fuck up? That is not...
They're shooting missiles at ships! Come on, that is not... that is definitely violent. And of course they're saying like, oh, they're just blockading aid and all that. First off, I don't think that's really I don't think that's really a blockade when you're shooting cargo ships. But more importantly, guys, even if it was a blockade, you do know that's an act of war, right? That's why during the Cuban Missile Crisis, America, when they blockade Cuba from getting like Soviet nuclear weapons and stuff, they refer to it as a quarantine instead of a blockade to try and weasel their way out of it to prevent like a war or something like that happen. It is a war move if you blockade like ship and all that. So I mean, if you think about it, guys, if the Houthis declared war on Israel and they're actively attacking shipping in the Red Sea, which accounts for like 30% of global trade, like it's not really a surprise America would do something. Like, come on, man, it's not like that hard to figure out. So of course, America and the UK, they launched, I think it was like over 100 missiles across Houthi-held areas across Yemen. And I have no idea if they did any casualties or anything like that. They make it sound like they've really devastated the Houthis and all that, which hopefully good. That way they stop doing that.
They've probably damaged a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah, but like we don't know anything. I haven't looked up...
The Houthis have similarities to like Hamas and Hezbollah, where they've always got more backup. Yeah,
like they're not gonna they're not like this like gigantic threat, but they are a pretty big nuisance and all that. But of course
they're not like a massive, they're more annoying than actually threatening.
Like people are saying like on Twitter, like this is gonna lead to World War III and all that. Yeah, attacking jihadists.
If Iran and Saudi Arabia get dragged in, it could, but like that would be the point. It would come down. The ball would be in China's court at that point.
But yeah, like it's not gonna lead to World War III. America attacking jihads, pretty much. No more so than like when we invaded Afghanistan after 9/11. Like, it's just not. But of course, a lot of the idiots on the left are acting like this is like the worst thing ever. World War III. Oh, Biden should be impeached and all that. Which Biden should be
impeached for it, dude. And dude, genuinely, if we go by that rule. Paid to that degree, dude, you might as well be calling for Washington D.C. to be nuked,
or have a military dictatorship, which of course half the country wants. But now of course people like part of squad like Biden does not have the authority to do this. Well, from what I've looked up from Vosh and Dylan on Twitter, Biden actually does have the authority to do this. It's not a war. Like, we're not at war with the Houthis. It was only, like, strategical strikes on stuff for when they attacking stuff. And, of course, remember, they're declaring war on Israel, so it kind of would be bringing America in when you do that. And all it was required under the War Powers Act was that Biden must inform Congress, like, within 2 days before the attacks are done and all that, which he did. So this seems legal. Is it necessarily the right thing to do? I don't know, because it's not really a good thing to do that.
I'd personally lean kind of not, but
yeah, I'm not so sure about that. But like, they're like the Houthis are not being like honest actors. Like, Kyle's about to do that.
He's about to defend the Houthis, isn't he?
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, god damn it. Kyle, I am on the brink of unsubscribing from you. My god, you are falling down the American Diabolist fucking tanky pipeline.
It was rage-inducing.
Seriously, I'm on some of the shit he said recently. I'm on the brink of unsubscribing from him.
So I guess you haven't seen his video yet?
Come with him. No, but Oh man, if it's as bad as you say it is, this might actually be enough for me to be like, nope, sorry, Kyle, fuck off. You're an American Diabolist. Go, you're an American Diabolist.
Well,
Go suck Theodore's dick.
Unfortunately, I have watched like half of it earlier, and I was getting both sad and disappointed. I mean, I'm angry and disappointed at the same time. Ugh, I can't believe I gotta watch this, Kyle. Why you do this to me? Disappoint me like this?
All right, guys, I got some big breaking news that just came out. We're getting reports that the U.S. and the U.K. have decided that they are going to airstrike Yemen. Now, when I say that...
Oh, yeah, here's another thing, too, that a lot of people on the left act like they're attacking Yemen. No, they're attacking the Houthis. Houthis are not all of Yemen. It's...
Exactly.
Like, we're not attacking Yemen. It's just the Houthis. And by the way, they really do need to go away so the civil war in Yemen could be fixed once and for all and have their government restored and all that.
That, I don't just mean sort of tit for tat on the seas. I mean,
Kyle,
you mean piracy on the sea?
Kyle, they've been attacking ships and stuff like that. Like, come on, they're not an innocent actor.
They are targeting cities and specific targets in Houthi-held areas of Yemen. It's a little difficult in the fog of war to get all, good information right up front here. But here are the names of some of the cities that allegedly they're bombing at this moment. Sana'a, Hodeida, Sada, Damar, Taiz, and Zabid. So if these reports are true, then that is a number of cities, a number of targets in Houthi-held regions in Yemen. Now, I, of course, should point out that the U.S. and the U.K. are doing this. They say that, like, the Netherlands and some other countries are with them with this coalition. But this is always what they do. They'll, like, drag in some other countries and pretend like they're part of this big coalition, but really it's just to get that.
Are they really dragging them in? Could it be that they just willingly decide that they think it's a good thing?
The only other country that would be involved would be Saudi Arabia.
To make it appear
and maybe
more
like
official
the UAE or something
than it actually is. I mean, the big point to make here is this is illegal. In order for the U.S.
I don't know about that, Kyle. Vosh has done a pretty good video on this that it might be valid to do so.
To start bombing another country, you need a declaration of war through Congress. That's what the Constitution says. And Biden didn't do that.
Didn't Obama do that, though? Or at least a version of that? That was like one of the L's of his presidency.
I don't remember.
So like, Biden's just well, if Obama didn't. It was like Obama or Trump. I don't remember.
Like, it's a little bit more complex than that, Kyle.
If you had the time to go talk to the UK and go talk to the Netherlands and whoever else was nominally involved here, you didn't go and talk to Congress.
It was just US and UK.
At all, in fact.
Australia was probably involved, probably shot a few missiles as well. Knowing my country, but probably about it.
For tweets, and credit to these politicians who are coming out and saying this, but Val Hoyle is one congressperson who says these airstrikes have not been authorized by Congress. The Constitution is clear. Congress has the sole authority to authorize military involvement in overseas conflicts. Every president must first come to Congress and ask for military authorization, regardless of party.
I would have given it to him anyway.
Ro Khanna came out and said...
that the government's just super fucking war hungry, so...
And remember, guys, Biden was only required to inform them, like, within 2 days before it happened, and he did.
Very, very
so
similar.
It's not like they didn't know about it.
And I don't know, I haven't seen any Republicans yet say it, but of course, I know Thomas Massey will come out and say it. There may even be others who come out and say it. I saw Lindsey Graham celebrating what Biden is doing here.
Of course, because he's a neocon.
Let's understand something, guys.
This is a neocon terrorist.
Why is this happening? Why is it the case now that...
because Lindsey Graham wants to fucking nuke Yemen.
Mm-hmm.
Our tax money is going to bomb Yemen because Israel decided to do a genocide in Gaza. They've killed 28,000 civilians, including 12,000 children.
That number's an understatement from what I've heard. I've heard you should be adding about, if you want the actual toll, you should add about, I think it's about 1,000, 10,000 to it.
Yep, and that, of course, as we said, is wrong, and we need to stop giving Israel aid for what they're doing.
Yep, exactly.
And
likewise, we should stop helping Saudi Arabia what they're doing to Yemen.
decided.
Yep, exactly.
Or excuse me, Yemen decided. We want them to stop.
But Kyle, first off, it's not Yemen, it's the Houthis. Yemen and Houthis are not the same thing. They're not the same thing.
Yemen decided, we want them to stop that, so we're going to go ahead and block the Red Sea to prevent trade with Israel. Now, by the
again, Kyle, it's not Yemen that's doing this. This is the Houthis.
The Houthis.
And also, like I said, blockade is an act of war. And they've already declared war on Israel, so I mean, by that logic, Israel has a valid reason to bring America in that regard, since we're allied with them and all that.
By the way, they've been clear every step.
Oh, God, here. Oh, no, we're getting to, like, the first bad part.
Block the Red Sea
The
to
first of
prevent
the
trade
American
with
diabolism.
Israel. Now, by the way, they've been clear every step of the way. If Israel stops doing the genocide in Yemen, we will stop controlling the Red Sea and blocking trade with Israel.
They'll stop being pirates.
How do they even have control of the Red Sea? They're a jihadist group. Do they even have a navy? Like, seriously, Kyle, what could they blockade?
The best they've got is surface-to-war ocean missile. Well, they've got drones. They've probably got, like...
Missiles.
Regular old board. Like, it's like they've probably got something like what the Somali pirates have, where they just have, like, 10 people on a fast-moving dinghy, on a very fast dinghy with a big motor. And that's it.
Oh, I wonder how they feel when they see the American Navy coming up to them.
And so
They're
the U.S.
scared.
looked at that.
They piss off. I've seen a few of the compilations, and it's usually the US. They turn tail and run, trying not to get set on fire. What I saw with, I think it was China, which left it all burning. They fired so much it left the whole thing burning. And yeah, it's interesting to see.
You can't beat American Navy, people. When are you all going to learn that? Japan had to learn the hard way.
Sea and blocking trade with Israel. And so the U.S. looked at that, and Biden was so outraged and aggrieved by the blocking of trade with Israel as they committed genocide.
Not even a blockade, it's piracy.
And Kyle, they're not just blockading Israel. They're attacking like any naval vessel they can get their hands on. They're attacking everything in sight. So it's not just Israel they're going after. And as I said, blockade, act of war, attacking innocent vessels that have nothing to do with it. This is not acceptable.
That he decided, I need to go do an illegal, unconstitutional war and go take U.S. tax money and use U.S. bombs to go after the Houthis. Look, I'm going to say this as straightforward and as simply as possible, and this will be controversial, but it's true, which is why I'm going to say it. The Houthis are correct. The Houthis are right. In fact, you can argue they are the ones who are trying to uphold international law here.
By attacking naval vessels, Kyle. Really? Really, Kyle? Really? You're going to say that? Really? A jihadist movement values human rights and international law by trying to blockade another country's trade and attacking naval vessels. I told you it was bad. I told you.
Yeah. This is really bad. Maybe you need to fuck off for a bit. Actually learn what the fuck is going on before you be a fucktard.
I mean, this is the same...
Or be an American diabolist who believes in a unipolar world under China.
I mean, remember, he's the same person that says we shouldn't give aid to Ukraine anymore either.
And nobody's going to do anything to try to stop it?
Yeah, he's falling down. No, I'm done. I'm going to
block trade with you.
What happened if I leave this video, I reckon I will have unsubscribed from him.
Of that. Okay, the insurance rates for the ships in Israel went up. Sometimes they have to take a different, much longer route to get to Israel. Oh, man, the horror. How terrible. But
I mean, that affects everyone too, Kyle. It's not just Israel.
Trade to Israel and protect Palestinian babies who are being bombed on the regular. If you wanted the Houthis to stop, you know what you could have done? Told Israel, hey, you've already been doing this for months. You can go ahead and wrap it up now. 28,000 dead civilians is enough. bombing.
And Kyle, as Vosh covered, the Houthis don't give two shits about the Palestinians. I honestly don't think any of the Middle East countries care about them. All they care about more is making Israel looking bad and being like, see how bad Israel is and all that.
The only country, there are a few that are like, but any that do is more, it's like Iran and that. It's not even we care about the Palestinians. It's geopolitics.
Mm-hmm.
It's geopolitical reasons. Because they want to undermine Saudi Arabia.
And trying to undermine America, too.
Yep.
But yeah, America has the power to end this. Threaten Israel with sanctions and embargoes, and then they'll stop. And finally end this once and for all. But of course, America is too much of a cuck to do that.
You know, another hospital, another school, another UN building, another marketplace. Wrap it up. I think we got the point. I think the 12,000 dead babies is enough. If you wanted them to stop, Biden could have told them, no more money, no more weapons, we're going to stop this. This is having wide-ranging consequences. Instead, what does he do? Pats Israel on the back, gives them a green light, tells them they're special and they're precious, and then decides to drag the U.S. into another Mideast war on their behalf. I mean...
like I said, I don't think we're at war. We're not at war with Yemen, and honestly don't even know if we're really at war with the Houthis pretty much in that regard either.
Here.
Not really. We're only at war with the Houthis through our proxy, Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm. I always expect the U.S. to make stupid decisions, to do terrible things. But this is like a level above and beyond. This was 100 million trillion% avoidable. We don't need to be going to war with Yemen. We don't need to...
Kyle, we're not at war with Yemen. If anything, it would be the Houthis who are not Yemen.
Be bombing 10 cities in Yemen.
What is it with you people on the left that keep thinking the Houthis and Yemen are the same thing? They are not. God.
We don't need a hot war with the Houthis. And by the way, another really important point...
Oh, he actually said it right. We're not via war with the Houthis. Well, thank you, Kyle. Thank you for getting it right for once. The Houthis, not Yemen.
Exactly.
This makes Americans less safe. Because now... you are begging for retribution and retaliation because the U.S. is doing Israel's dirty work for them.
I mean, what are they going to actually do to us? Like, let's be honest. What could any of these countries in the Middle East do?
The worst I can think of is drop some bombs on Saudi Arabia. That's it.
Or do the regular attacks on, the American embassy in Iraq or whatever that's been happening, often for years. They're not going to do anything to us. And if they did, then they're going to get obliterated.
This makes us less safe.
Well, at that point, the US would probably be like, you know what, we might actually consider dropping a nuclear weapon on them.
I'm pretty sure the Middle East would hopefully have a brain realize we don't want to become the CSA, Japan, and Al-Qaeda.
Absolutely makes us less safe. We are not a target of Houthis or Hezbollah or Hamas. But you know what? When you keep sending money and you keep sending weapons and you keep greenlighting a genocide, maybe eventually they go, hey, they are the problem. You know, they're the dealer that's giving Israel, the addict, their fix. And now you go and you bomb Yemen.
The Houthis, Kyle. You just said it correctly earlier. Come on.
The Houthis are correct.
Come on.
The Houthis are correct.
Was correct. Absolutely. It should have been the UN that was doing that, right? It should have been
the UN has been against Israel for all this time. It's just America keeps vetoing everything. That's the problem with the Security Council. One country vetoes, cancels out everything.
Aired about human rights. Us doing that. No,
that is one thing America is actually bad at.
Had to do the right thing and step up, and now we're bombing them as a result of it. Now I should point out.
Oh my God, Kyle, they're not doing the right thing. They're attacking innocent vessels and all that. That's not based.
Now there are some reports that are unconfirmed as of this moment that they went after U.S. ships. So,
Kyle, if they go after U.S. ships, what do you expect?
They fucking deserve it.
What do you think? America's going to just sit back? You think America's going to sit back and do nothing? Seriously, Kyle? Come on. Dude. Man, that's some hardcore American Diablos in there. American ships get attacked and they just casually sit by and do nothing? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I expect Hassan or someone like that to say it, but I didn't think Kyle would go that far. That's really well off for Kyle, even.
That's because he's following Hassan's path.
Don't go down that way, Kyle, please. No.
Crystal was telling me this the other day we targeted a bunch of their drones. We shot down a bunch of Yemen's drones, the drones that they're using.
Because they're attacking ships in the Red Sea.
It's
defending
piracy,
them.
You fucking idiot.
To police the Red Sea, effectively. And there's some reports now that they went after U.S. ships. We don't know the timeline of the event.
Well, if they did, then it's self-defense, so...
Yeah.
So in other words, we don't know
you can
if
kind of
the
understand why they're doing it.
knew the U.S. were going to attack them, or the U.S. was already in the midst of attacking them, and then the Houthis started attacking the ships, or we don't know if they attacked the ships in retaliation to us attacking their drones the other day. We don't even know for sure if they did attack the ships. There's just some unconfirmed reports that happened. But now that's almost certainly going to happen. And this is what we've been talking about, guys, how everything escalates out of control, and the tit for tat, it turns into a massive snowball effect, right?
You've been saying about the Russo-Ukraine war for 2 years now, but has any of that happened? No.
Nope.
Ukraine's been winning. Ukraine's been winning that regard.
And so now, the Houthis
After
fire back on some
initially
U.S. ships.
taken,
Nobody
he's
died.
back.
No U.S. people have died, right? But imagine even one U.S. soldier dies. Then, Joe Biden and neocons and Republicans, all these people could look at that and say, well, the Houthis are just a proxy for Iran, so this means Iran killed a U.S. soldier. Now we got to go to war with Iran.
Only the neocons would even think about something like that. Biden would not do that. Like how you know that. Biden would not attack Iran.
He would be impeached by his own party day fucking one if he did that.
It's only
Genuinely.
gonna... If that actually happened, they're gonna go only after the Houthis. That's it. Like both America, Iran, everyone, we respect the proxy war. We deal with our problems with proxies. That's it. That's why nothing's happened since.
So, this is where we're at. Look, of all the horrible things that Joe Biden has done, literally put at the top of the list, the tippy top of the list, green-lighting Israel doing a genocide and arming them and funding them as they do it, and now, illegally and offensively bombing Yemen, bombing the Houthis in Yemen.
I would not even put. I would not put this as number 2. I wouldn't even put anywhere near the worst things Biden's done. He's done way worse things. If this is even if you think this is a bad thing, I would put this near the bottom of the list of the bad things. Israel, however, that definitely is the worst.
This is a country that didn't attack us and was only trying.
Kyle,
they did attack us. They attacked our ships. You fucking Hassan wannabe.
Oh my goodness, Kyle. You literally were just talking about unconfirmed reports that they might have attacked American ships. Well, if they are, then it's self-defense. And we know for a fact they've been attacking commercial vessels and all that for months now. And of course, as we mentioned, they declared war on Israel a few months ago too. Come on, it's self-defense.
To effectively do a blockade of Israel in a sad attempt to put economic pressure on them to get...
Blockade's an act of war. And plus, what force do they have? I'm serious. Even with all the drones and missile attack the naval base, they don't...
Drones, missiles, and speed ships.
It's a joke of a blockade, pretty much.
Them to stop...
It's such a joke that America, they would just sneeze at them, they'd probably be scared.
Carpet bombing babies in Gaza. I don't know what else to say about it, man. But this is bad.
Shut the fuck up, then.
We told you from the very beginning in those long Israel segments. We told you, look out, because this is how giant regional wars start. This is how it happens.
I don't think this is going to lead to that, though,
it's
Kyle.
A little bit
I think you're over-exaggerating.
We're backing Israel. Israel's massacring civilians in Gaza. Then it's Israel doing tit for tat with Hezbollah in one area, and then it's us, the U.S., bombing Shia militias in Iraq, bombing Shia militias in Syria.
I mean, when it comes to Iraq, they are attacking our embassy, so self-defense.
Israel taking out a Hezbollah commander here, an Iranian commander here, a Hamas leader in Beirut, in Lebanon. Wildly illegal. You can't just bomb Lebanon. They did. And then...
I mean, Israel's going to do what Israel's going to do, Kyle. You know that.
Yemen, completely illegal.
They don't give a shit about Lebanon or Syria's sovereignty.
We know the answer.
I think the only country they give a damn about is Saudi Arabia, because they know that it's an ally, and that Saudi Arabia and Iran are in the nuclear arms race.
Is to continue to allow Israel to carpet bomb children. Never been more disgusted than I am right now. And by the way, if you turn on mainstream media, good luck getting the context. There is not a single...
Honestly, Kyle, as much as I don't like mainstream media, I think they might cover this a little bit more objectively than you are, honestly. I really do think, when it comes to this...
Which is really weird to say, but...
Same thing for, like, the Russo-Ukraine war. I think I trust them more than you. And I really don't like saying it because I don't like mainstream media, but you really are out of the loop on these issues.
Channel in mainstream media that will tell you the very basic thing. Hey, why is Yemen doing this? Why are they...
it's not Yemen!
Why are they trying to block...
It's not Yemen, it's the Houthis.
I don't understand. Again, they're doing it to try to stop Israel from doing a genocide. Putting economic pressure on them to try to stop them from doing a genocide.
I think Israel doesn't even know what the Houthis are doing, to be honest with you, because it's such an insignificant pressure.
That's why. Now, when you hear that context, it's a lot harder to critique it, isn't it? And by the way, Hassan Piker was saying on Twitter that...
no. Please tell me you didn't say Hassan.
And by the way, Hassan Piker was saying on Twitter that he turned
Oh,
on CNN,
no, Kyle, please. Don't listen to Hassan, please.
Right was right.
Don't listen to him, please. For your sanity, just don't listen to him. He sucks.
The U.S. illegally bombing Yemen as a de-escalatory action.
I mean, if they destroy much of their infrastructure, maybe they won't be able to attack ships and all that, which would be peaceful in the area. I mean, like, you're so stubborn you don't, like, realize this.
Oh, man. Holy shit, man. This is bad. This is bad.
I know, Kyle, your video's pretty bad.
Lord only knows now what they'll do in response, or if
I really feel like I'm watching Hassan right now, to be honest with you. That's sad.
Lindsey Graham starts screaming about, let's go invade Iran. But Biden's probably close. If he was going to green light a war with Yemen illegally, then
again,
why not?
First off, it's not Yemen. It's the Houthis.
It's because he would be impeached day one.
And also, he's not declaring war on the Houthis. It's just strikes and all that. And also, he's not going to do anything on Iran. The only way he would do anything on Iran is if Iran did something to us that warrants, like, a defensive measure and all that. That's it. Like, we're not going to... As long as Biden's president, we're not going to offensively do anything to Iran. Like come on, man.
Yep.
Like, I know he's not the best on foreign policy, but he's not, like, that insane.
Go all the way and do Iran.
He ain't Trump.
Imagine blowing your chances at re-election so that you continue to allow Netanyahu to do a genocide. Imagine being...
I mean, this does hurt, like I've said before, like last few months, this does hurt.
Struggling.
But I still think by next year, like the next comes around, I don't think this is going to be a big thing. Or if it is, I don't think Americans are going to care that much about to change the outcome of it.
Being that fucking stupid. Imagine being
I think
that
people will just
fucking
forget about
stupid.
by then.
That's what we got in Joe Biden. So, by the way, final point. All you Republicans, oh my God, let's do 74 hearings on Hunter Biden's cock and balls. You want to talk about impeaching Joe Biden? You want to talk about accountability? Here you have a clear-cut example of an illegal bombing campaign.
I don't know about that, Kyle. There seems more nuance than that. I don't think it's that simple. And also, of course, as we know, they're going to agree with it. So even if it was impeachable, they're not going to impeach him for it. You know that.
The Constitution is super clear. The president can't just willy-nilly go around and start bombing whoever the hell they want for whatever reason they want. No. You need a declaration of war from Congress in order to do a war. This is an act of war. It is 100% illegal. This isn't, vital for necessary defense of the nation at the last minute.
I mean, if they're attacking American ships, which, Kyle, you said there's unconfirmed reports that they might be doing it, then that is a self-defensive measure. And they're attacking, and Kyle, I know you're not going to like this because you don't think America should be in, like, the world police and all that, but America's Navy is the main protector of, like, international trade. Like, if trade's threatened, America is going to respond to that. Like, it's obvious. Like, come on.
No, not at all. Nobody makes the argument that, oh my God, the Houthis are taking down Cleveland if we don't act. Doesn't happen.
Only neocons would say something that's silly.
No, this is offensive, this is aggressive, this is illegal, this is unconstitutional. If you want to go after Joe Biden for anything, here's your chance. But they're not going to do it.
Kyle, going after his support of Israel is probably more likely to work. Honestly, I don't think this would be anywhere close to being impeachable.
Because they agree with Biden. They agree with Biden 100%. Absolutely pathetic, terrible breaking news. This thing keeps getting worse and worse. and I don't have much hope that it's going to change.
Kyle, you make my head hurt watching that. So yeah, what do you guys say about?
Dude, what the?
So what do you guys say about?
Listening to Hassan.
Yep, I can't believe I was watching Hassan, Kyle. That was very disappointing in you. I expect better from you. So yeah, what do you guys say about America doing these strikes on the Houthis and Kyle's video? Makes me sad watching it.
Why? Get out of Hassan's vortex, vortex of death, Kyle. Seriously. God.
American diabolism, as cringe as American exceptionalism. Ugh. Absolutely bad people. All
America can do no right, according to big chunks of the left.
Just like America's always right, according to idiots on the right. Ugh. Oh my god.
On the right.
All right. So now, what's next? Hopefully something nice. Please be something good. Please be something good. Please be something good.
Karen Mock's kid beating Tetris.
Oh, thank you! Something we can laugh at. Oh, finally, something funny for once. So yeah, guys. Oh man, this is hilarious. So recently, some kid beat the original Tetris.
Yeah.
And after 35 years.
I was reading how he did it, and it was amazing.
Now, how he did was he didn't like beat the game per se, like he got to like some end of the level and congratulations, you beat the game. No, he kept playing until the game glitched out because the game could not comprehend what next. Like it basically like underflowed the levels and all that. Like it glitched out. He beat the game so well he broke it basically. And that was the first time ever in 35 years someone did it on the original Tetris. And some stupid Karen on Sky News, hey, hello UK, you being turfs and Karens as always, why am I not surprised? Basically made fun of him for doing it, of course, because I don't know what it is. I already know. Older people, and especially women too, think video games are stupid and all that.
Yep.
Oh my god. Like
I think they cause mass shootings.
Oh yeah, oh my god. And perverts and all that.
Sexism, child molestation, etc.
Does your mom have a big deal about video games?
My mum doesn't care either way. My mum's very much apolitical. She just works and does a crochet.
Oh my god, my mom thinks
that's pretty much it for her.
My mom thinks video games are like the stupidest thing ever, and she teasingly mocks me every time I play games every day.
Well, my dad is very much a gamer.
Oh, my dad is too. Oh god. I'm sure you remember what I talked about on the Salty Spittoon when he rages on Red Dead Redemption 2.
I've heard my dad raging a few times on
going full flight. Going full flight. All right, so yeah, let's watch a Karen be stupid.
Step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air.
13-year-old Willis Gibson made history, being the first person ever to officially beat the original Nintendo version of Tetris, reaching the game's kill screen. And of course, an anchor at Sky News could not wait to belittle the 13-year-old for playing Tetris. So, I'm going to get to that clip. First, I want to give you, or show you the clip here of Willis Gibson, the 13-year-old, doing the thing that no one else has done in the history of the original Nintendo version of Tetris. 35 years of Tetris. This kid is the first person to achieve this.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Absolutely amazing. The first person ever in 35 years.
Personally, I don't know if I'd find that like, oh my god, that's the most amazing thing ever, because I don't play Tetris, and that isn't really necessarily like you beating a game. It's more of like you just beat it so much the game like broke basically. But hey, good on you for still doing it though. Not gonna shit on you for doing it. I don't think it's like the most impressive thing in the world, but still, good on you.
Years of Tetris on NES to hit a kill screen. So in case you don't know, a kill screen essentially means the game crashes because it is not programmed to go any further than where it went. He reached the end of Tetris.
Like the original Pac-Man for the arcade. If you got too high of a level, the game underflowed and basically broke and all that. I think even the original like Donkey Kong game did the same thing too.
So I'll get some more context just so you understand how much skill, dedication,
Because remember, guys, a lot of these like older games, like in the 80s and stuff, they were designed to be like money grabbers. So they were designed to be as hard as possible, so that way you'll lose very early and want to keep putting quarters in to keep going all that. They are not expected to be beaten and all that, or at least not go as far as they did, and that's when they just break.
Patience, anxiety control.
Like these games, unlike games now where they usually do have like an ending screen and all that, like you beat the game and all that, back then it really was not the case.
Takes to achieve something like this. Few people achieve anything, record-breaking. This 13-year-old achieved just an insane accomplishment here. And as you'll see, some people don't really respect or understand it. But just some more information around this. So first person, so he also goes by Blue Scooty. He's the first person to reach level 157 and reach the true kill screen. And here you have Jane Secker of Sky News. Now, while you're watching this clip, keep in mind, or just think about how they would be treating a chess player who just beat a world record.
It's simple, guys, because these people they view video games like a childish thing and all that. They don't view it as serious. Whereas chess is been around for like hundreds of years. It's like a well-established like board game and all that, so it's like considered like more prestigious and all that. So that they don't mock, even though it's literally the same thing. It's playing a game.
Who's making headlines right now? This kid, Luke Lidler, 16-year-old, making headlines. Think how they treat that compared to how
darts are considered prestigious. Video games are not considered prestigious. Like my mom always talked about, like back in my day, TV was considered a bad thing because only kids can watch it nowadays. Now, of course, everyone respects TV because it's been around long enough that's established.
The anchor here is treating this 13-year-old.
Now, Tetris has long been touted as a video game that just can't be beaten because it just goes on and on.
Oh my god!
Well, 13-year-old American Willis Gibson has technically proven that wrong. He beat the original Nintendo version of the game by reaching such a high level that the coding froze. That left the program unable to generate any more falling blocks. As a mother, I would just say step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal. Speaking of fresh air, let's get a look at the weather.
Good going, Karen. Good going.
Why are you covering it?
If it's not a big deal, then why are you covering it?
Exactly.
I mean, like, I make fun of like my mom like saying video games are stupid and all that, but even if I didn't like do something like amazing like this, like if I went like, hey mom, I just beat Pokemon again, she'd be like, good for you. She wouldn't go like that far. Jeez.
Yeah.
This woman is reading words that someone else wrote off a teleprompter, and she has the audacity to act like what this 13-year-old did is unimpressive.
I mean, I don't find it necessarily like the most impressive thing in the air, but I wouldn't be saying stuff that she did.
The ascension on display here is
Well,
incredible,
good.
and it goes to
it is an achievement.
to this built-in. I don't want to say it's generational because it's not generational, but it's
No. It is generational. It is
largely a generational thing.
And not only that, I'm gonna get a lot of shit on the left for saying, but a lot of it also is like a woman's thing too. Like, a lot of women just don't play video games that much, especially older women, too, where we get to, like, the generational thing. A lot of women don't play video games, and they, like, mocking on it. Hell, Mayumi's talked about before she's, like, a video gamer, and, like, her friends tease her about it all the time. Women just aren't into video games that much. It's more of a men's thing. And there's, like, nothing wrong with that. Now, a lot of people on the left will be like, oh, you're misogynistic for saying, like, women don't like video games. A lot of them really just don't. That doesn't mean women can't like video games or play them, no. But we gotta be acknowledging that a lot of women just don't find video games interesting. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that it's like a majority men's thing and all that.
Yeah.
It's this mindset where video games are a waste of time.
And like, that's the case for us. We're men. We're video gamers. Our dads. And of course, our dads are old, especially mine. But they're still video gamers.
Yours?
My dad's 61.
Yeah, my dad will be 60 later this year.
Dude, like, and my freaking mom's like 65 and all that. So, like, our dads are video gamers, even with the generational divide. Like
Yeah.
like our dads like grew up like the very first like video gamers basically. It's like late 70s, early 80s. My dad would be like 17, 18, stuff like that. What about you? Like late 80s, I mean early 80s. Probably about close to the same age.
Yeah.
Like our dads are like the very first like video gamers, so that's like they're like just barely on the line of like being like not too old to like play and all that. And like I'm sure we have male friends that play video games. Now, outside of Mayumi, do you know any other woman as like a friend or whatever that plays video games? Because I don't. Just her. Do you know anyone else?
Summer, a friend of mine. Yeah, there's one or two.
But like any male friends, do you see him playing on video games a lot more?
Depends.
Like me, all my like male friends, almost every one of them are video gamers. Women, just one. And like, Mayumi's like the only woman I know off the top of my head that plays video games that I know of. Like it is a generational divide, but it's also a gender divide too.
Time.
Yeah.
But you know, being a fantastic player of
But of course,
chess
I would
or-
get shit
or
on the left for
darts
saying
or any
the
sport,
gender part.
that's perfectly okay. That's acceptable. That's culturally acceptable. But if you're beating records, if you're doing something that no one else in the history of the world has ever done in Tetris, you should go outside. Which, by the way, this kid does go outside. So I'm going to show you just more context around this. There's a great video, which is also the basis, I think, for a lot of these news stories right now, that breaks down why this was so impressive. This was put out on YouTube by David McDonald, goes by A Game Scout, and this video already has over 2 million views, breaking down why this is so impressive. To give you an idea, I watched this and I teared up watching the video. Not many things make me tear up, but this made
really
me tear
tears
up
you
because
up?
of the dedication it takes, the time it takes.
Well,
I mean, I think it's
So let me give you kind of
it's
a quick
impressive and
breakdown.
all,
AP
but it's like
summarizes
not
YouTube
that
video,
big of a deal.
to give you an idea
Jeez.
of why this was so impressive. So
Yeah.
Willis did this on December 21st, triggered the kill screen at level 157. David McDonald, as the YouTuber I just showed you, says they, quote, they were just stuck in the 20s and 30s in terms of the levels because they didn't know techniques to get any further. Level 29 posed an especially tough roadblock because the blocks began falling more quickly than the in-game controller could respond. So if you play Tetris, the blocks fall, when you're playing, they fall quicker and quicker and quicker. Level 29 is the end of the speed, so it doesn't...
Of course, this is beyond like my age because this is NES. I'm not really a fan of Tetris. It's on the emulator for Game Boy Color on the Switch. Played it and I did not like it whatsoever. The only Tetris I would like was like Pokemon Puzzle League and all that, but that's it. Not really a fan of
past level
Tetris.
29,
It's just too old for me.
But there was sort of an assumption by the creators
you
of
played
Tetris,
Tetris?
on NES that was the furthest anyone would get.
Not really.
But they found a way to get further, and there is a way to
because
get
we're
further.
too young.
By discovering new techniques in order to play the game and progress past level 29. So in 2011, one got
Back
to
in
level
my
30
day, the main thing was
using a technique
Pokemon,
called
people.
hypertapping,
Don't you
in which
remember
the player
those days in
could
the late
rhythmically
90s, early
vibrate
2000s?
And the
their
Mario
fingers to move the game
series
controller
too.
faster than the
Oh
game's
man, I
built-in
missed those
speed.
days of Gen 1 and 2
Again, going to
Pokemon. Oh, those
technique,
were the
going to
best.
dedication. The next big thing came in 2020 when a gamer combined a multi-finger technique called rolling. This helped one player reach level 95 in 2022. And then bizarre quirks began to crop up at higher levels. So at level 138, random color combinations began to appear, making it harder to distinguish the blocks from the game's black background. So the game
Yes,
began
I
to
remember
glitch
that.
out at level 138, making it harder to even see what was going on. Again, understand, this kid made it past all of this. And then, so the only way people even knew the game was that you could reach a kill screen in Tetris is because one person created a AI program dubbed Stack Rabbit. So the AI program was able to reach a kill screen in Tetris, and that's the only way they knew it was possible to get there. But no human had done it until Willis Gibson accomplished it. So I want to give you some reactions here online. There was a lot of heat. this anchor was getting roasted online. So Becky Frost quoting here: "Beating Tetris is not a life goal. Yeah, for you, Sandra. How many world records had you set at 13 years old? What a small-minded, smug, and horrible way to belittle this kid's achievement. As a mother, I'd be super effing proud. This took skill and determination.
I don't think my mom would be that impressed if that was
Jimmy
me.
Brown's here. As a dad, I can safely tell you, if Kit beat an unbeatable game and set a world record at 13, I'd be incredibly proud. That comment was so.
Yeah, my dad would probably be proud
about
about that. My mom, though,
down on a child, I'm almost lost for words. How is this reporting the news? Jay Britton here. When will mainstream media stop treating games like the unwanted cousin in entertainment?
Not until those old-ass boomers are gone and us millennials take over. That's when video games will be respected.
Discipline, dedication, commitment,
and guys, we've covered this before. The average age of video gamers, and this was like back in 2016 when Review Tech USA covered, was like 41 or something like that. It's over. Like, the average video gamer is old. For crying out loud.
Shown by the 13-year-old completing Tetris didn't deserve to be belittled by this reporter who has no idea about games. On two things on that point. One, so as I said, this kid does go outside. He goes to events. Like, there's a whole community around Tetris. Give an example. Like, this video, shows some of that. Here he is, there he is, with people at events, outside. It's like...
But don't you know the stereotype is that we're in our basements playing video games all day and never seen a woman before?
So I have heard this bullshit my entire life.
Because women don't play video games because they're smart somehow and not boring, even though they are if they don't play video games.
It is so... that's what it is. It's such bullshit. So to hear this stuff, this garbage, still be spewed in 2024 is incredible to me. But this kid, he's well known in the space because obviously to get to this point, you have to have been playing Tetris. So he goes to these events. He's going to be going to new events. People show up to these events. There's I'm trying to find the poster here. But anyways, if you watch the video, he's going to show up at some other events this month playing Tetris. So he goes to these events. He goes outside anyway.
We get it, doll. I feel like she's a Karen. That's all there is to it.
To refute that point.
We're not dum-dums that don't understand
this crap. It goes to showing just how completely unaware these television actors are. You read news off a teleprompter that somebody else wrote. I worked in news. I worked behind the scenes in news. I worked on air and radio. It's not a tough job. What this 13-year-old achieved is much tougher than what this news actor is doing. Now, this job is soul-sucking, which may go to why she is so miserable. But in terms of the actual work,
though, you might be called a misogynist for that one.
Reading off a teleprompter. Now, the other thing I want to show you here is just how massive gaming is.
Oh yeah! This is gonna make people very mad when they hear about because we're video game haters.
It's now, and this is from 2019. This is before the pandemic, mind you. Gaming worth more than video and music combined. So it's now much larger since the pandemic.
Get shank elbowed.
But
video game haters.
In the UK. So game sector
video games make more money than music and videos combined.
Entertainment market.
Stay mad. Cope, Stephen Wald.
Of course.
Yep.
So
and dilates.
Again, it goes to the complete lack of awareness. The
go rage like a hoglin in a crimson forest.
And again, think of how different
until you see a warp fungus.
If it were some other sport, and not Tetris. This reaction here from Ian Chambers. What I find funny is nobody tells people who binge watch Netflix to go outside. This narrative is so boring now. I ran 5K yesterday and celebrated with a session on Resident Evil 4, which is shocking because you can't play video games and go outside.
Or how about me being on the exercise bike for a lot and playing video games too? Just like earlier, like the last few days, while I was working on rendering the MTWS Championship video, I've been playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, a new game recently. If you see me post on the server,
I've been off screen. I've been playing through Pokemon Scarlet, and I've also been doing a bit of Pokemon Trace Silver.
Trace Silver.
It's my version of Pokemon Soul Silver, except Porygon is the starter.
Randomized Soul Silver. Okay, yeah. But yeah, we play games, and I don't know about you, but I exercise too. And also, why does no one why does no one shit on people for doing Netflix? I think watching videos on stream outside of YouTube is dumb as shit. Especially now I had to go through a agonizing experience earlier today just to get Peacock working so I can watch Dolphins at Chiefs tomorrow and all that. I think people watching streaming videos are really silly and wasting their time. But if they want to do that, go right ahead. I don't find that appealing, though. Video games, however, I do.
What this young man accomplished is incredibly hard to pull off. Skills-wise, in reaction time, ability to control anxiety, and sheer mechanical skill. No one has done it in prior in over 30 years, and she makes this tired, dated joke. Calypso Mallory.
Old Ash, Boomer, Gen X, perhaps women, as always. Always gotta ruin everyone's fun.
At the end to laugh
when we're not being turfs, we gotta go after video games.
One last one here from Normal Guy. Very funny to say, quote, beating Tetris.
Or not, when we're too busy worshipping J.K. Rowling.
Certainly be more lucrative than reporting for a dying news outlet in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
This is the greatest point. Cable news, this kind of news is dying. Nobody really watches this unless these clips go viral. So you could argue this maybe wasn't even important until she became viral because no one saw this until one person saw it and put it online. Gaming is massive. What you do, not massive, not impressive. So, yeah. I'll belittle what you do for a job because I've worked in news. I know how little work it takes compared to what this 13-year-old pulled off. Really insane to see.
Careful, doll. Like I said, you might be called a misogynist for that one.
Still out there from Mission Press.
So, yeah. What do you guys say about that? Karen's having a problem with video games, as always. Every time.
Yep, no fucking surprise.
Like, just keep your mouth shut. Let's let the kid enjoy beating Tetris for the first time ever and just be happy about it.
Exactly.
Just don't be this, Karen. Please, people. Just don't. Video games are based on... Oh, yeah. Stop hating video games, too, people. Video games are based in fun. If you're gonna hate if you're gonna hate anything in the video games, go after video game developers. EA and all them deserve shit, but not us. Alright, so now, on to the next topic.
That is... PragerU, why do you hate conservatives? Because
and of course...
You, that's why.
And of course, this is the first time in years we're going to be covering PragerU, especially me doing it. And the only reason I thought about doing this because it was watching Hunter Avallone's video that we covered at the beginning. Because after I watched it, I started getting a whole bunch of Hunter's videos again. And, of course, he always reacts to PragerU and all that. So, I figured he did a video on this, and it was like 30 minutes long and he pretty much said exactly what we were going to say. Like, nah, I'm not going to watch his video because it's too long and he's going to say pretty much what we say. So I figured, why not we watch the video directly? And who knows, guys, maybe this will be a preview in the future of when we do our special going after PragerU. Oh, boy. All the videos I got to think of going after it. Oh, my God, we can go forever. All right, so yeah, this is their video from like 2 years ago on why do you hate conservatives? So, yeah, this is directed at us because I wouldn't say I hate conservatives, but conservatism, yes, we do hate that immensely. So let's watch and see why we are wrong to hate conservatism.
Why do you hate conservatives? Well, let's not say hate.
Why.
Let's say dislike, because you don't really hate anyone.
I hate Putin. That's the one I do hate.
Hate Butler, hate Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh yeah. Fucking hate him too. Hate not Ataturk. Erdogan. There we go. Fucking hate him. Yeah. I hate Trump.
Erdogan and the Neo-Ottoman Empire.
I fucking hate Modi. He's a Hindu fascist piece of shit. Yep. There's a lot of people we really do not like whatsoever and all that. But like when it comes to, like I said earlier, like I'm sure there's a lot of conservatives I don't like, but like general like people and like regular people, I wouldn't say I hate them. Like the worst thing I'll say is them that I think you're ignorant or stupid. Unless you say something like really like evil and malicious, then I will say you're very bad. But my main problem is more of conservatism, the ideology, not necessarily the people, because not all conservatives are vile pieces of shit.
Yeah.
You may dislike them because they want to ban abortion. Conservatives say they're all for freedom.
They do,
but when it comes to a woman's freedom to choose what she wants to do with her own body, they sing a different tune.
Women who are seeking abortion.
You may dislike them because they oppress people of color and deny the fact that America is systemically racist.
Well, that they do.
Conservatives say that everybody is equal regardless of race, and that racism has little to no effect on the daily lives of people of color.
That's
so they just ignore the issue altogether.
Huge effect.
You may dislike them because
of course it has a big effect.
So, they just ignore the issue altogether. You may dislike them because they don't believe in climate change.
Well, that they don't believe in
Scientists
either.
keep telling us we're overheating the
Of
planet,
course they
and
don't.
conservatives
Well,
don't seem to care.
Also, you want the
They're-
ultimate thing of what can happen, of what happens, what carbon dioxide can do to a planet? Look at Venus.
But see, that's just
Venus is
liberal
the hottest
hoax, don't you
planet
know, buddy?
The 460. Yeah, go try to live there. 465 degrees Celsius surface temperature, 90 times atmospheric pressure.
Yep. Choose your death. Either burn up to death or probably get crushed.
They're more concerned about
suffocated, crushed, or burned.
profits than people. But what good is money if you have no planet to spend it on? You may dislike them because
Exactly.
they're obsessed with guns. How are we ever going to stop gun violence?
I actually don't know. I wouldn't say it's necessarily conservatives are obsessed with guns. I think it's more of like an American problem than necessarily a conservative problem, because the vast majority of liberals also own guns too, which I know a lot of you conservative watchers are going to be like, what? No, yes. Statistically, there's more guns in America than there are people. And it's not, that does not mean there's no way only conservatives own all those guns. That means the vast majority of liberals are also gun owners too.
Violence.
This is an
We don't
American
get
problem
guns
necessarily.
off the
Because this is not a problem really in other countries that have a shit ton of guns. It's just more of an American
streets.
problem.
And how are we ever going to get guns off the streets if conservatives block every common sense gun law? You may dislike them because they're so intolerant.
Well, that
What's
they are
the harm
too.
of calling
Okay,
somebody by their
yeah.
preferred pronouns?
Yeah,
Why
really, what's
can't
the wrong with saying
conservatives
that?
just show some compassion instead of obsessing over every kind of behavior they don't like?
Well, you don't even need to show compassion or something like that. You don't even necessarily need to agree with it. Just let people do what they want, and we're good. That's it.
Yeah.
You may dislike them because if they got their way, they'd get rid of democracy and establish an authoritarian theocracy.
Well, that they do want to
Bye-bye
do.
separation of
Okay,
church and
yeah.
state. Hello, fascism.
Their
After
favorite
all that,
word.
you might sum up conservatives with one word. Ugh. If any of this
Because they want a one world government.
I don't know if I would say ugh, but I'd be like, just why are you so stupid?
resonates with you,
Yeah.
I get it. I've
Really? Do you really get why we have a problem with conservatism? I don't think you do.
been there. But, and this surprised me, I found they actually have reasons for thinking the way they do.
Everyone has reasons for why they believe things. I know and understand why conservatives believe the things they do. I just think they're either wrong, stupid, or evil.
Here are some of them. On abortion. To start, we can agree that no one likes abortion. But there is a clear divide on the issue. Progressives focus their attention on the mother. Conservatives, while they have compassion for the mother, focus their attention on the baby. They see a human being growing in a mother's womb as innocent and vulnerable. Those babies deserve to be protected, since they obviously can't protect.
No. They don't deserve
No.
protection more than the mother. Sorry, just no. So, here's the first problem. We have an irreconcilable view on this that can't be resolved. We're pro-choice. I don't know about you, but for me, it's the mother's body and her choice and discussion.
The real pro-lifers.
Yeah,
Because
we're the
we're
actual
everyone's
pro-life
life.
people. We think women should be able to choose what they want and all that. Yeah, you're right that I wouldn't say I hate abortion. I'm just amoral to it. I don't care. I want it to be the woman's choice. If she wants to abort,
Yeah,
go
exactly.
ahead. If she doesn't want to, go ahead. I don't care either way. You guys have the problem with it. You guys are so fundamentally against abortion that you will cause women to fucking die because they can't get abortions because of like a fatal fetal defect or life from birth, stuff like that. And then you got like the vile stuff that might not necessarily even lead to people dying, but like vile stuff like you're against like women getting abortion, like if they're rape and stuff like that.
Yeah, and don't forget
that's fucking
that
evil.
North
Just evil.
Carolina Republican, they tried to put up a law that would have legalized murdering women who are seeking abortions.
Like, we have a fundamentally irreconcilable view on this. Like, we're gonna always be against you no matter what. Like, and here's the thing. Like, she's correct. We're not pro-abortion. We're just pro-choice. I'm just indifferent about it.
Exactly.
Like, there are people, like my dad, Kyle, Hunter, they don't like abortion, but they see it as, like, a necessary evil, basically.
Exactly.
Like, they're
right?
pro-life, but they
live
still
the same
recognize
thing
the
too.
choice is needed and all that. But, like,
Yep.
like, here's the thing. If you really want abortion like ban abortion's not going to stop it. Like, we've had abortions banned in a whole bunch of America for like 2 years almost now. Abortions are not going away to those states. All it's doing is leading to women suffering and dying, getting unhealthy abortions and stuff like that. Absolutely disgusting and evil.
Don't forget women getting Don't forget women getting murdered because of it. At least one has been because of it, because of these laws.
I'm sure you can all hear me hyperventilating massively right now because I'm so very angry.
I heard that.
Because it's so angry and stuff like that. So, like, this is not a debate in our eyes. I support the bodily autonomy of women and discussion. If she wants to get abortion, she can. And discussion, and there's no valid reason to be against it, pretty much. I don't buy your guys' argument that the fetus is just as important as, like, the mother. No, it's not. The woman is always priority first and foremost. Come back to me when the kid is born, then it has the same rights and all that. Although not always necessarily the same rights, because parental rights and all that. And kids have restrictions and all that. But, yeah. Until it's born, I don't care. Woman's body, her choice, and discussion.
Themselves.
I'm sorry, I think we just debunked the whole video.
Deserve to be protected, since they obviously can't protect themselves. On racism, conservatives don't deny that racist people exist, but when it comes to the narrative of systemic racism, conservatives people
against minorities is a thing, but we'll hyperventilate about supposed racism against white people.
Yeah.
Because they're Nazis.
Yeah, guys, there are a lot of conservatives that straight up deny that racism is a thing. Like, I remember so many stupid, like, conservatives like, how is America racist? Obama got elected and all that. Just because
Obama has class privilege.
Just because America is not that racist that a black man can be president, that does not mean America isn't racist. There are racist elements to it.
Racism. Conservatives don't deny that racist people exist, but when it comes to the narrative of systemic racism, conservatives are unconvinced.
Well, I'm sorry, this might sound rude, but you're just retarded if you think that. I'm sorry. Yeah. The evidence is overwhelming that the systemic racism does exist. All the stats show it. And, of course, it's not like all the stats. Minorities do worse, well, blacks in particular, do worse in America than whites. And there's only two reasons why it would be a case. You can either go the racist route and say, like, they're all lazy and stupid and all that, which is stupid and racist.
Well, we know what they would say. They'd say it's because they're all N-slows.
Yep.
And they're just genetically inferior because they're N-slows.
But, of course, that's racist. The other option is because they don't have the same opportunities as us. Blacks have major problems. Like, guys, how many times I got to talk about this? For the first, 200, even before America was founded, 250 years, since 1619 to all up to the Civil War, blacks, by and large, were slaves. And even in the parts of the country where they weren't slaves, they were treated like shit still. Even, the north part, more liberal, they would still treat them like second-class citizens. So then, after that, the next 100 years, after slavery was gone, we then had segregation, Jim Crow, where they were still treated like second-class citizenship. A lot of those people, there's still a lot of people that were around up until that ended in the 60s.
Interracial marriage was banned. There are people still alive, including Aaron Ra, who was actually... Was it Ra? I think, he's just around there. Where interracial marriage was illegal there are people who still now who were alive back when interracial marriage was still illegal.
Interracial marriage bans were not ended in America until 1967. My parents were alive during the time when America, a lot of the country, it was illegal to interracially marry. And then, of course, we got, after, segregation, all that was over after the Civil Rights era and all that, we still have systemic racism in terms of, the drug war and all that. There is systemic racism. Police brutality, which, of course, you guys fervently deny, because you guys are on the opposite end of,
They don't just deny it, they actually support police brutality.
Systemic racism does exist. And if you refuse to acknowledge it, I'm sorry. You're just retarded.
Of course, there are disparities in this country, but why assume that these disparities are because of racism?
Because the stats show it, you stupid!
Good schools, good parents, good habits, and good communities would go much further toward alleviating poverty and expanding opportunity than a lifetime of racial justice movement.
But here's the thing. Black community doesn't really have those opportunities. Like, let's see, what were the 4 things she brought up?
Schools, good parents, good habits, and good community.
Good schools, parents, habits, and communities. Blacks don't have these opportunities by and large.
Systemic and existential racism.
Like schools, for example.
They can't.
That is a form of systemic racism because most schools in America are funded by local taxes and all that. Well, blacks by and large don't have much money, so they don't have much taxes to pay. Therefore, they have shittier schools. So that's systemic racism in their favor. Families and all that. It's kind of difficult for black community to have a lot of like supporting families and all that when they either can't make enough money to survive and all that, and they don't have like systemic like wealth accumulation like whites by and large do, or a family member like the dad usually gets arrested or something like that for like the drug war or something like that, which of course also prevents them from getting jobs to make money to fund having kids and all that. Like this is systemic racism right here. And then good habits. It's hard to have good habits even if you try to raise people well when they're in an environment where they can't have good environment because usually they don't have money or good education or good family structure. And all that boils down to systemic racism. And same goes for communities. It's very difficult to live in a community that's safe and prosperous and all that when they have severe economic disadvantages. And all that once again boils down to systemic racism. That's why, by and large, white families, too, and even, like, East Asian families in America, don't usually have these problems. Why? Because we're wealthy and all that. We don't have, like, we don't have even, like, East Asians, like Japanese, who had to deal with, like, freaking internment in World War II and lost everything. They still were better off than minorities in this regard. They were able to recover, and they're doing better than us than whites. When you give people the opportunity, they will succeed. But you have to also still acknowledge that systemic racism is a thing.
Communities would go much of racial justice movements. By the way, these rules apply to everyone, regardless of skin color. On climate change.
It's just they applied differently.
Yeah.
Change. Conservatives have very little faith in computer models that have been inaccurately predicting disaster for nearly half a century.
That is complete and utter cap. All the models have shown been accurate. Not only have they been accurate, they've even gotten like worse as time goes on. Like, no, this is even worse than we thought it was going to be.
You know, predictive models have been like 1.5 degrees by 2050. We hit, thanks to El Nino, 1.5 degrees in 2023.
Yeah, so
we're already hitting 1.5 degrees.
Yeah, like the computer models have always been accurate. If anything, they might have underestimated how bad climate change is. They've always been accurate. You guys just went under usually like Al Gore or something like that. Al Gore is not a scientist and all like pundits and all that. Listen to the scientists. Overwhelmingly, like 97% of them say climate change is real and it's man-made, and the stats show it. We literally covered this in the last episode, guys. But Simon's YouTube video about like climate change in 2023. The Earth is warming and all that. It's not debatable.
Conservatives have a lot of faith, however, in human ingenuity to overcome climate. What is air conditioning but a human adaptation to the environment?
Oh my God, this stupid argument again.
It's not going to work when your planet's looking like, admittedly a lot colder, but it's looking like a white version of Venus.
Air conditioning is not gonna. Like, here's the thing. Air conditioning might help cool you down, like we've mentioned before, like being air conditioned areas when it's like hot out and stuff like that, but that's not going to solve the issue. And another thing too is air conditioning uses CO2s that help make climate change worse. And of course, as the planet gets warmer, air conditioning can be much more common, which will exacerbate the problem. And also about like human ingenuity, like basically it boils down to like capitalism. Yes, capitalism can help fight against climate change, but capitalism itself is not enough. We need government regulation to do that too. But of course, you guys don't like. But of course, you guys don't like government regulation because government bad and evil.
Of course, because they like climate change. That's why they're so evil.
So yeah, guys, climate change is real. It's happening. We're causing it, and we need to solve it.
See Miami or Phoenix for further reference. This is not to say we should...
I don't know if we'll be able to see Miami much longer if it's going to go underwater eventually. Just saying.
Simply do nothing.
Yeah.
Nuclear power, for example.
There's going to be big chunks of inland US and northern Australia, most of the tropics that are going to be uninhabitable by humans.
Not to say we should simply do nothing. Nuclear power, for
Yes,
example,
that's what
holds
you're
so much
saying.
promise
What?
That is what you're saying. You're saying that we should do nothing.
as a renewable and safe energy source. Conservatives don't understand why
What?
Fuck off.
What?
Too late.
environmentalists
I thought
oppose
you
it.
thought about nuclear.
It makes them skeptical and suspicious that the real agenda behind the environmentalist movement is not saving the planet, but giving more power to the government to control people's lives.
Yeah, combating climate change is controlling your lives. Like, just stop the cap. It's not. Just stop.
On guns,
Stop it. This
we
is not
all
a
want to
new
live
world-
in a
this is not
safe
some new
society.
world order
This is why
conspiracy
firearms are
theory,
regulated
okay?
in every state.
No. Not every state regulates guns the same. Like, we have very strict gun laws in Maryland. Not everywhere else is like Maryland. There are many states in the country where it's just, if you want a gun, you just get it like that with no checks or bounce whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But we know bad guys will always find a way to get guns.
It'll be harder for them to get
Okay.
guns if we have strict gun laws everywhere, you nut job.
See Chicago and Baltimore for further.
Well, when it comes to Chicago, the reason why they have such gun crime, first off, systemic racism we cover because of economic disparity, but also a lot of those guns were imported in from Indiana, which has loose gun laws. So, yeah, it's hard to have strict gun laws in a state or a city when you could just go to another state that's more loose on it and just import them in. But if it's regulated the same everywhere else, then it would be kind of difficult to bring guns in and all that.
The reference. That's why conservatives want guns, to protect themselves from the bad guys. It's not much more complicated.
It's more nuanced than all that, and you know it. Like, God, like over 10,000 people a year in America die because of gun deaths and all that. I know, like,
Exactly.
I know, I think it was like, no, I think it was like 20,000, but I think like that extra 10,000 is like suicides or something like that. A lot of it's also suicides, so it's not like all like people going out and killing them and people and all that, but like, guys, this does not happen in other advanced countries that have as many guns as America. This isn't a thing like in Australia. This isn't a thing in Canada. This isn't a thing in the UK. This isn't a thing in Switzerland. Like, these places have just as many guns as America does, but they don't have the amount of gun deaths. It's not just guns. It's also a culture problem. I'm sure, like, down there, how do they treat guns down there?
They treat guns with the respect they deserve.
So you're saying people don't go around like carrying their AK-47s and all that, like showing off like,
Nope, that's not allowed.
cowboys. Yeah, which is based and all that. So like, it's like, and Switzerland, we covered this before, like Switzerland, they have it where, first off, men are conscripted in the army and all that, like everyone pretty much, because they're like, just like Switzerland's like Japan, like very hive mind to the defense on that, to like the absurd extreme and all that. But after men are no longer serving, they can actually keep their guns and like have like storage areas in their house to like storm and all that. So like everyone in Switzerland is almost armed and all that. But they have strict requirements that you must have training and all that to use it and such. They treat them as like tools for defense, whereas in America, guns are treated like toys and all that. That's the big problem. If we want to fix gun things, yeah, we are going to need to do stricter gun laws. But we also got to fix America's culture on guns and stop treating them like toys and all that. Because all the other advanced countries in the world do not treat them as toys, and they're more strict about it, even though they have a shit ton of guns, and they don't have these amount of gun deaths. Like, that's the reality. This is a uniquely American problem, and we must solve it. But, of course, you guys got to get out of the way.
On tolerance, conservatives see tolerance as a two-way street. If someone demands to be addressed by certain pronouns and considers it intolerant if you don't comply, conservatives wonder why that isn't intolerant.
The tolerance
because they are intolerant.
Why is it, first off, why is it such a big deal to like call people by their pronouns or their name like that? Like you would have no problem, a conservative, like if you refer to me as a he and all that.
Yeah.
Why is it such a big deal? Like if I say I'm a she, why is that such a big deal? Just say she then. Why is that such a big deal?
Because that's cultural Bolshevism. Because it's cultural Bolshevism. That's why.
And then here's the even more sillier part. Like when people get like their like trans people get like their name changed and all that, and then like conservatives dead name like that. Oh my God! Like with Caitlyn Jenner and all that. Guys, you can legally change your name. It's like it's been around forever, even before like the trans issue popped up. So what? Why are you not going to respect people changing their name? What? Because they're trans? All of a sudden you got to be on purpose dead naming them and all that? Like, It's not that big of a deal. If someone identifies as something, just acknowledge them as that. If they have a different name before, just acknowledge it. It's not a big deal. And here's the problem. Like, why is it that we're supposed to tolerate you, but you can't tolerate us being against it? It's the intolerant paradox, where if we live in a tolerant society, I mean, if a tolerant society allows intolerance, eventually the intolerance will take over and make the whole society intolerant. You're not supposed to tolerate the intolerance. That needs to go. Just like we, as a society, by and large in America, even though there's major problems with it, by and large we recognize that racism is wrong. Are we intolerant to racists by saying their racism is wrong? No, we're right to point out. Are we wrong to be? Are we intolerant when we point out that people, hey, you're being misogynistic and stuff like that? No,
and misandrous.
Yeah, but like usually misogynist is always one that goes after. Never misandrous. But we recognize that some things are just wrong, and you're wrong to think that. It's not like being intolerant. It's just you're wrong, we're right. And like when it comes to like trans rights, we're right, you're wrong. Just acknowledge it. It's not that hard to do.
Why are a conservative's moral or religious beliefs less worthy of respect than anyone else's?
Because you're equal.
Because you guys try to force it on others.
Exactly.
Like we're atheists. We don't like religion and all that. But as long as you're mind your business and all that, I don't care at all if you're religious. I really don't. But when you start like ban abortion because my religious beliefs say abortion's evil, or like try to ban gay rights, like my religious belief says gay marriage is wrong. Well, fuck off. Then we're gonna have a problem with you.
Gay marriage either. You know that
we're gonna have a problem with it then.
The interracial and interfaith marriages next chance they get.
Like if you don't like the stuff, just don't do it. But if others want to do it, they have the right to do that, and you should respect that.
On authoritarianism. Whenever conservatives win political power, they're typically trying to cut taxes and regulations, make the government smaller, and bolster constitutional freedoms like that of speech and religion.
Yeah, sure, guys, sure. When Trump got in power, he cut taxes and caused a massive budget deficit because of it, and raised our taxes too. Yeah, very smart. Exactly, make the government smaller. Bullshit. The government can't be made smaller. And if you do make it smaller, you make it smaller in the worst place, like gutting regulations and protections and all that are vital and bolstering constitutional freedoms. You guys don't believe in constitutional freedoms for things that we think are important, like abortion, gay rights, stuff like that. You want to take those away. So you're not for small government. You're for big government when it's something that you don't like. Whereas I actually do want small government if it's for something that should be for small government. Otherwise, I want big government to take care of stuff.
That doesn't sound very authoritarian.
When you get into it, yeah, it does. It does.
Does it? Progressive policy almost always raises taxes, expands regulations, increases the size of government, and now curtails free speech.
Well, other than the last one, the first three, based. And also, the free speech one, there are a lot of progressives that do want to control free speech, which I don't like. But you guys think criticizing you is not free speech. You guys think like Facebook, Twitter, and all of them taking your post down, all that's anti-free speech. It technically isn't, guys. They're private companies. If they want to ban you conservatives from like Twitter and Facebook, all that, they legally have the right to do so. Now, I don't think they should, but legally they do have the right to do it unless you expand free speech in that regard. But like you guys also ban free speech when you don't like it. You guys want to stop people from being able to like have their pronouns and stuff like that. Like just no. You guys are anti-free speech when you don't like it.
To a conservative, that sounds authoritarian.
No, it's not. That's very based. What are you talking about? That's more freedom, for crying out loud.
Well, now that you've heard a few of their arguments, do you dislike conservatives less than you did before?
Oh my god, that creepy like wink at the end. Oh god. No, I don't. My views of conservatives.
I hate conservatives more after hearing that.
Yeah, like Hunter said in his video.
Yes, that was exactly.
Honestly, I hate you more because of that creepy ass wink at the end. Ugh. It seems like so sexual when you did that to me. Ugh. But no,
Which is ironic. I'm surprised PragerU didn't censor that bit.
but no, my views on you have not changed. Here's the thing, guys. We don't agree with your ideas. That's the end of it. We don't agree with you when it comes to abortion. You're not going to change us on that. We don't agree with you when it comes to systemic racism and all that. On that one, you're wrong. We don't agree with you when it comes to climate change. You are unbelievably wrong on that one. We don't agree with you on guns. If anything, we might be more pro-gun than you in that regard because we want gun regulation to make guns safe and all that, whereas you guys want Wild West stuff and all that. We don't agree with you when it comes to intolerance because you can't have an intolerant society. And we don't agree with you when it comes to authoritarianism because our ideas are not authoritarian. They're based. Your guys' ideas are authoritarian. You literally want to ban abortions. That's authoritarianism to me. You want to ban trans rights and stuff like that. That's authoritarian to me. Like, our views are irreconcilable. And that's why I don't like conservatism, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you guys don't have power, because your ideas, I think, are wrong and evil. So I hope that explains it very well if any conservatives are watching why we don't like conservatism. We think it's really, really, really bad and all that. Oh my god, I can't stand seeing her face anymore. I am out of here. So yeah, what do you guys say about that?
Oh, terrible video.
So,
I actually hate them now.
I mean, I'm not surprised because they're stupid. Not surprised with her. Oh yeah, how nice too. They have a nice 50-50 dislike so far too in the video. Let me add that on. There we go. All right. So now we've covered that. What do we talk about next?
Trump prosecutor and judge swatted.
Oh yeah. Hey, finally something we can watch Kyle again actually being good for once again after what we saw earlier. Ugh. So anyways, I actually didn't cover this. I mean, knew about this till you just posted it. But I'm not surprised. I think we've covered something like this before and all that. Of course,
Trumpsters, it keeps happening.
Yep. Trumpsters, of course, being violent sacks of shit they are because their daddy orangutan is correctly being prosecuted for the bad things he did, are getting violent as... No surprise they're getting violent.
No surprise, yeah.
Reminds me, too, just recently, like a week ago, some judge in Nevada actually got attacked by someone, if you didn't see that on CNN.
I remember reading about that, too.
Although it has nothing to do with Trumpsters, but man, just like funny coincidence that just happened recently. Seems you guys... Seems people are getting violent towards judges and all that. Why am I not surprised? So let's see conservative retards get violent.
So there's a wild story here that's not getting nearly enough coverage. But apparently, Judge Tanya Chutkan, who's the judge in one of the Trump cases, she was the victim of what's called swatting, which, you know, I'm sure a lot of you guys are highly online, so you know what swatting is, but it's basically like somebody calls up and says, oh, there's a shooting here, this person's going to do a shooting, or there's you gotta go, it's a, you know, very sensitive situation, hurry up. And then, like, a SWAT team literally charges into your house. And, you know, it's dangerous. And by the way, I think it's illegal. Certainly in a bunch of states. It might even be illegal federally to, like, falsely send...
That's why SWAT is very bad.
A SWAT team, you know, call in a false thing and to send a SWAT team to somebody's house. That's dangerous, man. If somebody makes the wrong move or something, they could be shot. They could be killed. So they say police and fire trucks responded to reports of a shooting at Chutkan's home, but police determined no shooting had taken place. Police and fire trucks showed up on Sunday night at the house of Tanya Chutkan, the federal judge overseeing former President Donald Trump's election interference case after she appeared to be the target of an attempted swatting attack. Police confirmed to NBC News that they responded to false reports of a shooting at a house that a witness identified as Chutkan's home. A law enforcement official also confirmed that it was Chutkan's home and that she was home when the police arrived at her residence. A police report obtained by NBC News said that officers with the Metropolitan Police Department responded to a call just after 10 p.m. Eastern Time that referenced a shooting that occurred at the location. Once authorities arrived at the scene, an unnamed subject said she was not injured and that there was no one in her home. Police determined no shooting took place. A police spokesperson told NBC News it's unclear from where or from whom the call to emergency services originated. Chutkan is the federal judge overseeing the federal election interference case brought by special counsel Jack Smith against Trump. She appeared to be the victim of swatting, which happens when someone makes a false report of a crime in progress to draw police to a certain location. A spokesperson for the U.S. District Court did not respond to a request for comment Monday. This comes after a recent uptick in threats against judges nationwide, including those serving...
I don't know if... Oh, sorry, I never watched this video yet, so I have no idea, but there actually, I think it was in Maryland recently, in the last, year or so, a judge was killed by someone.
On Colorado Supreme Court. Remember there was that shooting that happened in the building? Somebody went in the middle of the night.
I think it was in Southern Maryland.
That Trump is ineligible to appear on the state's primary ballot this year, a decision the Supreme Court has decided to take up. The FBI said it was investigating the threats and working to address them. Chutkan herself has also faced threats. A Texas woman, Abigail Joe Schrei, 43, was arrested and charged last August with transmitting a threat to injure a person via interstate commerce. The affidavit alleged that the woman called Chutkan on August 5th and left a threatening voicemail message for her. "Hey, you stupid slave," Schrei said before she referred to Chutkan using the N-word, the affidavit.
Hey, remember when PragerU said conservatives don't deny racism is this? Well, what's this right here?
There you go.
This is conservatives being racist people. Hey, you stupid slave. The N-word and all that.
It alleged, "You are in our sights. We want to kill you. If Trump doesn't get elected in 2024, we are coming to kill you. So tread lightly, bitch. You will be targeted personally, publicly, your family, all of it," Schrei is alleged to have said.
And like we said about Hunter, when you get threats like this, you have to take it seriously every single time.
Seriously,
Trump
yes.
has also explicitly targeted Chutkan on social media, posting disparaging messages about
Hunter Avallone made that mistake and it nearly got him killed.
her on his Truth Social account, as well as about prosecutors working in Smith's office and potential witnesses in the case. Chutkan imposed a gag order against Trump, prohibiting him from targeting Smith, other prosecutors, and potential witnesses.
Like you think Trump's going to give two shits about that, though.
In early December, allowing him to target any high-profile witness who makes
Because we
disparaging
know, as
comments
we said
about
for
him, as
years,
well as
he
Smith
won't
himself.
shut up at all.
Trump's trial in the case is set to
He'll
begin in
never
March,
shut up.
but it could be delayed depending on how the
He's Donald
Supreme Court will
Trump.
rule on Trump's presidential immunity claim. Trump pleaded not guilty to the charges at a court appearance in early August. In recent years, judges have faced a myriad of threats. In 2022, Biden signed into law the annual defense authorization bill, which contained the Daniel Anderl Judicial Security and Privacy Act. Anyway, so this goes on. The bottom line is she's being targeted by the Trump cult members because she's been critical of
she
Trump.
goes after
She's
Daddy
involved
Trump.
in the
Yeah.
case. She did
Because
the
he
gag
goes
order.
after their boyfriend.
And
After
they
their husband
view
died.
that as a slight against their
No,
emperor,
there goes the
overlord,
Chisama.
God king, and so they're firing back.
And they
Now,
want
by
to
the way,
desperately wear a
this
Japanese
is not the
French
only thing
maid
that
outfit for
happened.
him,
We also have
too.
this. Special counsel Jack Smith was targeted by attempted swatting on Christmas Day.
I'm actually
Police
gonna
were
look
dispatched
that
towards
up
Smith's
now.
residence,
Nice part of it.
but were called off when they learned it was a false alarm and that everyone inside the home was safe. So between the uptick in threats, between now they're getting swatted, what you need to understand is we're at a tipping point. And all it takes is one psychotic freak who's totally brainwashed on Trump's propaganda to pull the trigger at the right time and kill one of these people. And honestly, with the mountain of evidence that's coming in over time, I think it's more likely than not that there's going to be some sort of high-level political assassination where one of the Trump people targets somebody who they view as one of Trump's enemies. I view it as...
And yep, I was looking up. I was right. It did happen in Western Maryland. Just back in October, a judge was killed.
Very likely. Very, very likely. Because we've seen the polling data. We know that the people who are still with Trump at this very late date, we know they view him literally as a cult leader. You know, they take his word over the word of their friends and their family members and religious figures. And, like, his word is the end-all, be-all. It is a total authoritarian brainwashing that has made it so these people are completely disconnected from reality. They believe anything and everything he says.
You want dinner or a bath or perhaps me?
It's putting people in danger. Because Trump is willing to put these people in danger. He's more than happy to rail against them on a regular basis when they have even a minor ruling against him in the court. He puts them on blast. He's gone after people who work at the various courts. He's smeared people. He's defamed people. He's put a target on people's back, and then they've had to deal with a massive avalanche of threats.
Yep,
And
exactly.
so now we're at the point where swatting is being done against Jack Smith and Tanya Chutkan. Look, let me just say this. If this was anybody else in Trump's shoes, they already would have had their pretrial. They already would have had their pretrial.
Yeah, guys, they're treating Trump with like the most unbelievable kid gloves ever. And to honestly, it's getting stupid. They're treating Trump way better than anyone else. If this was anyone else, they would have already been
Literally
like facing
anyone else.
they would have already faced like prison time or stuff like that. But not Trump because he's so special
If
and all
they were
that.
if they were a Democrat, they probably would have been assassinated
for violating the terms of the agreement.
You know how
and the only reason that Trump
our government hates People on the left.
not literally behind bars right now, as I'm talking, is because he was the former president of the United States. So when you want to talk about a two-tier justice system, the two-tier justice system is that, if anything, they are going way more lenient on him than they would have gone on anybody else in his position.
On Republicans than they ever would on Democrats.
And of course, they're going so lean on it, and the right's acting like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Will you shut up? Just stop.
That's the two-tier justice system.
No,
it's biased in favor of him
about it.
because he's powerful, because he's a former president, because there's a high degree
Trump,
of a political nature to this case, which makes people walk on eggshells.
Please go touch it.
So there is a two-tier justice system. It's just in the exact opposite way of the way he thinks. He thinks it's a witch hunt. He thinks he's being unfairly targeted. No. No. He would already be behind. He wouldn't be out anymore because of the threats that are coming in after these people. Because of the fact that his cultists have a target on their back.
harassed by
and I hope they
hoglins
have
for doing
very,
nothing.
very good security because they're going to need it. And we're seeing now they need it. By the way, with this swatting,
I'm being
anything
treated
could
like
have gone wrong. One of them
piglins when
could
they
have
see
been killed,
gold around me.
For sure. But this isn't being discussed. It's almost like everybody just accepts and expects this sort of unhinged vitriol from Trump and his supporters. And so when it happens, it's like, well, what do you expect? Well, we shouldn't have a lower bar for him or his people. This is dangerous. They're violent. And here we are. So, something's going to happen, and it's going to be ugly. And don't say I didn't warn you beforehand. Hey,
and hopefully don't be dead if they try something like that. What? No, I don't want to see that Yemen video again. Don't have that promote again, please. YouTube, please don't promote that again. So yeah, what do you guys say about that too?
It's not surprising. I'm kind of amazed it hasn't already happened, to be honest.
Well, I mean, one judge was killed, as I just covered a few months ago in my state. And then, of course, we just had, within the last week in Nevada, that judge was attacked by that one defendant, just jumped over the court judge's bench and attacked her.
That too.
I was actually debating if we would cover it, but I didn't think it was going to be newsworthy enough. But since you brought this up, I figured, why not talk about that a little bit as well? So yeah, now, on to the next topic.
And that is the final topic of Rafe Dubin saying it's good to be racist against immigrants.
I have not heard of Rafe Dubin in so long. Oh my gosh. Hey, Sam Cedar, nice to see you again, since I don't watch that much. So let's see how sad Rafe Dubin is now.
Dave Rubin, is this on his a viral channel that he does, or where is it? Where is he doing this?
This is on the Good Old Rubin Report.
Oh, is that still happening?
All parts.
Here's Dave Rubin.
He's doing the thing where he plays a clip and then sort of reacts to it.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Oh, he plays the clip up front.
Okay, here's Dave Rubin reacting to AOC's plan to deal with immigration.
All parts of the political spectrum, one of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to immigration is the fact that we have an undocumented population.
AOC, the wizard of the Hamas caucus, she went on...
The wizard of the Hamas caucus. That sounds a little racially motivated, perhaps, don't you think?
Yeah.
And apparently the Daily Show does still exist.
What is the wizard of the Hamas caucus? What does the wizard mean?
Also, AOC being any, leader of the squad, she has no bones to be a leader. Come on.
Why wizard? Why not,
I don't even think any of them in the squad have any strength to be a leader like
magic?
Yeah, I don't quite understand that reference. It makes more sense if you're referring to Steve Scalise as Grand Wizard or something.
Right.
Like that, but I don't understand that.
Is she doing alchemy? I don't understand. Why wouldn't it be
she's the Harry Potter
the captain of the all right, let's go back. And now, of course, here's Dave Rubin talking about does the Daily Show work, and for all we knew, who knew that Dave Rubin show existed? He's not even on a set. He said this looks like a TV behind him.
Yeah.
He also, TV image.
He also framed this as host aghast when AOC explains her plan to solve illegal immigration. And the host there was Jesus Nice. People might know him from Bodega Boys podcast. He's probably not aghast and probably agrees with AOC.
she went on The Daily Show, and apparently The Daily Show does still exist. It's been very confusing to me whether it exists at all anymore. I'm not even sure who the host is. It doesn't even matter. But here they are talking about what we should do about illegal immigration, and listen to how, well, she doesn't call it illegal immigration, of course, but listen to how she says the quiet part out loud.
From all parts of the political spectrum, one of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to immigration is the fact that we have an undocumented population. Now, you can fix that by trying to build a wall, or you can fix that by trying to document people and create a path to citizenship.
Yeah, that's the base thing to do, what AOC just said. Full amnesty to all the illegals that are here already.
That might say, look at these systems, that our shelter system has weight and things like that. But one of the reasons that our public systems experience weight is because people don't have a documented and reliable path to work and sustain themselves, just like all of our ancestors did and our grandparents.
Our ancestors and our grandparents came here illegally. I am guessing if you watch this, for the most part, your ancestors came here legally. My great-grandparents.
I have no idea if they did, and I don't care if they did or not, because that doesn't have any effect on me. Since I'm naturalized, I don't care.
Well, okay, now pause it for one second.
And I'm born in another country.
And guys, just so you all know, that actually was a thing back in the 1800s. It wasn't like Mexico where all the illegal immigrants are coming from. It was Europe back like in 1800s, all up to like World War II, pretty much. Most of the immigrants were coming from there, and a lot of them probably were undocumented. But I don't think people were making a big deal about it back then. Gee, I wonder why.
First off, when's the part where the host looks at her like she's crazy? Was that supposed to be it?
That was it.
Oh, when the huge applause happened and he went,
And he's like, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, because guys, what AOC said was based.
And the fact of the matter is that the idea that there was no like sort of legal, unlegal things for a lot of people who came here, but she's not talking about if you go back, he doesn't listen to what she's saying. Go back. Let's go back. Yeah, right there.
We can fix that by trying to document people and create a path to citizenship.
Based.
And we'll have folks that might say, look at these systems, that our shelter system has weight and things like that. But one of the reasons that our public systems experience weight is because people don't have a documented and reliable path to work and sustain themselves, just like all of our ancestors did and our grandparents.
Okay, so let's just be clear what she's saying. That our ancestors and our grandparents, when they came here, they had a path to citizenship. Now, to be fair, during World War II, we kept certain groups of people out of the country, and at different times,
thank you, FDR, for keeping the Jews out when we could have helped them out.
Different people.
Good job.
But we allowed them to work legally. And she's saying,
oh yeah, guys, that's another thing too. We actually did allow illegal immigrants in Mexico to help out during World War II and all that, since all of our men were busy fighting in the war and women can't do all the work in the factories and all that. But of course, no one talks about that.
Just like them, if we want to make sure that we're not putting pressure on big cities and their social services, we need to figure out a way to allow these people to work legally. Now, he doesn't listen to what she's saying because his whole business model is show AOC and then that's it.
Donald Trump's ancestors came here illegally to avoid the draft in Germany like 100 years ago.
I think there's some question about how Melania got here too, actually, but that's not really that. Yeah. I mean, that's not.
But that's Trump. Remember, so it's A-OK.
The point is, she is saying the way that you take pressure off of our social safety net is to allow these people to do what they wanted to do in the first place, which was come here and work.
And like the thing is like they're already here. When people talk about like, ooh, maybe we should let undocumented folks vote in school board elections. That's because it's not to like entice them to come from Mexico. It's because they're already part of the community and their kids go to those schools. So maybe they should have some.
And if you don't like that idea about like undocumented immigrants like voting in local elections, then how about give them a pathway to citizenship? That way they become citizens, and then it's no longer a problem.
But like short of actually giving them full citizenship, which is what we should do.
And our grandparents came here illegally. I am guessing if you watch this, for the most part, your ancestors came here legally. My great-grandparents on both sides. What was it for your family? If you don't know, think about it. Do a little research.
I don't care. I just don't care about my background. I don't even care about like what my nationality is other than American. I really don't care.
Your parents, ask your grandparents. Look at a family tree. The idea that they're undocumented, so the solution is just document them. Oh, there's 12 million of them here. We don't know how many are pouring through the border. Just document them, send them in, give them some docs, and that'll solve the problem. That doesn't solve any of the problems. That probably makes the problem worse in some extent to just say, oh, yes, as many people as you want, come here, as long as we document you.
Yeah, I think as long as you pass a background check, if you want to come to America, you're more than welcome to. I don't care if how many do it or not.
You're good to go. But there was something oddly refreshing about
what
that.
What is the problem that doesn't solve? What is the problem that doesn't solve?
Off the top of my head, it solves the problem of bosses using undocumented people as a way to their undocumented status to exploit them for paying them lower wages.
But the question is, for him, is what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Because he thinks it would exacerbate the problem if we provided some form of amnesty like Reagan did. And I think the problem is the type of people who are coming in.
Yeah.
Some aspect of these people that he doesn't quite appreciate.
Document you, you're good to go. But there was something oddly refreshing about that clip where she flat out says it, what their plan is. It's not about a wall. It's not about a border. It's just about bringing in as many of these people as possible. And again, you only...
No, it's just giving a pathway citizenship for people that already are here.
Exactly.
Like, you're turning this into like some open borders thing, but she does not support open borders, and most of Democrats don't at all.
You need only go to the video we showed you right before that to go, like, is it racist to be like, who are these people? What are their intentions? Where are all the chicks? Where are all the kids? Where's the old woman? I mean, picture Ellis Island, 1937.
Yeah, the older women usually are going to sound a little ageist here, but older women, like if they're especially old, unfortunately they may not be physically able to move to another country.
Or perhaps might not have enough money either, too.
That's true as well.
Like, not everyone like comes in as a family, too. You know that, Rafe Dubin. Not everyone even has families necessarily.
The old woman, right? The 80-year-old woman with the bag, holding like one apple or something, trying to get in with the schmata on her head.
I don't even know what stereotype he's trying to get to.
Compare it to that. You think there's a problem?
Yeah.
I don't even know what stereotype
he's getting to. What the hell is he talking
to.
about? Like, literally the other day, there was an image when Mike Johnson was at the border. Pop this up. The other day, Mike Johnson's having a press conference at the border. And a woman crosses the Rio Grande with her 2 children. But he's got some notion of literally that he's like, I don't know, he is researched by watching Fiddler on the Roof. This one? Yeah, no, not this one. There was another one. I don't know what that one is. But the idea that, first off, the reason why it's a lot of men is because they're coming to work and send money home.
Yeah, guys, that's usually how it is, for crying out loud. That was definitely the case too for Asians too when they came here.
To their relatives.
Yep.
The reason why you don't see as many old ladies is because it's hard to walk that far, and
that seems like a little bit of a silly reason there, Sam.
Have the men come first.
A little bit more.
Try and get.
He said the reason why older women don't probably immigrate is that it's probably too long for them to walk and all that. Like, that's a little silly.
A little ageist there.
Like, it's more likely that they're like too old to be able to do it or can't afford it, something like that. I doubt it's more necessarily a walk-in thing.
Citizenship, try and get a job. Sometimes they send for their family, sometimes they're able to. But the whole idea is they want to build a future. We've had these 13 million supposed undocumented immigrants, and at least half are probably just people who came with documents and overstayed their visas. So we definitely have a notion of who they all are. And what has happened since they've been here? Have they blown up the... There's been far more violent attacks by U.S. citizens than undocumented immigrants. Yes, this moment here. Well, I guess that's a guy. Was it a guy with his kids?
I mean, there are other ones of women crossing it and like little kids, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just...
So is Dave Rubin in support of taking the women and children from Venezuela in? Like,
unbelievable.
Is it racist to talk about how they're all men who are coming to rape our white women?
Oh boy, what are you doing? I guess I shouldn't be too surprised if maybe you go there and all that, since you're probably desperately grifting to get any relevance, because I have not heard about him in so long, I honestly forgot about him. I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps grifting far to the right to get any sort of relevance. That's not going to happen because they don't like you because you're gay, as we saw with Benny Boy, remember? So, yeah, what do you got to say about this rave Dubin being silly?
Yeah. Hilarious. It's pretty nuts.
But yeah, guys, what AOC said was perfectly based. We need to have a pathway citizenship, and that requires full amnesty. And you know what? I said this a few years ago. I think when we did like the political tests and all that we did like back in 2019, 20 and all that. I would make a deal with all of you, like so hardcore anti-immigrants who want like the wall and all that. I'll allow the wall to be built, but you gotta give me some things too, and that is full amnesty to everyone that's already here, and you have to make an easy pathway to citizenship so people can become American citizens much easier. I would make that deal with you if I was president. Will you take it or will you not? Now, of course, I know you wouldn't take it because you don't want to give any concessions whatsoever, even if you get what your ultimate prize and all that. So I'm not be surprised in that regard, but like I would make that offer if that was there, if I had to able to do so, and that's up to you if you would take it or not. But what ALC said was perfectly based, and I don't see how anyone could be against what she said. So yeah, Rave Dubin is an idiot and probably becoming a xenophobic now. Now, of course, I don't believe his racism wouldn't even be authentic, because it's all about getting the money, as he's admitted before too. Alright, guys. So, yay! That's all the topics and all that. So, see you all next time for episode 94.
Yes.